Hello and welcome to the couch. Make yourselves at home. There's plenty of room. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Kosi,
And I'm Chris.
and this is the Real Couch Guys podcast. And this episode was sponsored by Bleach, because yeah, why not? Bleach doesn't get enough love nowadays. So
I feel like one of these days we need to get
an actual sponsor instead of just making some up. Yeah, it'll be great. Right? It'll be great.
Anywho, if you're new to this, we are your one-stop shop for movie reviews, news, and all things cinema. So this is how the show breaks down, guys. We spend the first half covering the biggest news stories of the week in the world of movies and entertainment.
Then we go into our movie reviews of this week's newest releases. But first, let's kick things off as we always do with this week's box office roundup. Chris?
All right, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the box office roundup for the week of February 11th
Yeah,
through
let's
the
do it.
17th. Coming in at number one, we have Death on the Nile with a total domestic gross of $18 million.
Hey, isn't that Armie Hammer movie
That is
and Letitia Wright movie?
Letitia Wright. Yeah, there's some controversy on that one.
Didn't Armie Hammer eat people? Please don't quote me, guys. But I thought he ate it. Didn't he eat somebody? No.
Anyway, so since this is a movie show, we're just gonna ignore all of that.
He is a movie.
He did eat people. That is very sad. Okay, now coming in at number two, we have "Marry Me" with 13 million total.
Oh, come on. So J-Lo wants to marry Owen Wilson after
what's-
picking him out in a crowd? Really wants us to believe that?
You know what's actually interesting about this one? I was looking at Twitter and the producer came on. He was talking about the origins of "Marry Me."
Mhm.
This was actually a webcomic that he saw at a 2018 Comic Con. He just saw it on a table there, and he thought, "Oh, this is a great concept." He
That's
got
awesome.
in touch with the writer, and it eventually turned into this film. So
That's amazing. Okay, well, hey, look. Like I want to poo-poo it, but like rom-coms are still have their niche. They have their place. It came out
Oh,
by
yeah.
Valentine's Day weekend. That must have been huge for them.
Yeah, and I think that's just great because like if you're a content creator, keep making your stuff. You never know what's going to happen.
Keep trucking, guys. Keep on trucking.
Yeah. So coming in at number three, we have Jackass Forever with a total gross of 41 million.
I love those guys.
Not bad, doing pretty good. And number four, we have Spider-Man: No Way Home, coming in with a pretty impressive 762 million at the box office so far.
Still chugging along.
And
Yeah.
what is it? They just surpassed
Avatar,
Avatar this
yep,
week.
this past
they are
week.
now the third highest-grossing domestic film ever. So that is really impressive.
Good job, man.
And I'm sorry, we just have to say this one last thing about Spider-Man. They still don't have a China release, right? It wasn't released in China.
It was not released in China, so all this was done without arguably one of the biggest movie markets in the world. So
Yes, it's insane what No Way Home accomplished.
and it's Sony's first, I think it's their second billion-dollar movie, but it's also Sony's highest-grossing movie
Ever
of all time.
in the history of the
So
studio, so just all kinds of achievements.
from walk bands to Spider-Man, that's how it goes.
And finally, rounding out your top five, we have the Liam Neeson film Blacklight.
Taken? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. Maybe his daughter does get taken in this movie. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what this is about. So
Look, no, I'll save y'all the trouble. Liam Neeson's daughter gets captured, and the guys that capture him get captured.
is that real? Wait.
No,
Oh,
no,
you're
I'm
just-
making it up.
Okay. Because I was about to say, come on, guys. No, but Blacklight has a total gross of 5 million so far. So
But am I wrong? That's probably what happened.
that is your weekly box office round.
No, thanks for that, man. So honestly, man, I've been wanting to sit down and actually get into this because a lot of trailers last week. There was a big
Ton
football
of
game.
trailers.
Big football game. We're in the U.S., so
A little thing called the Super Bowl.
yeah, Super Bowl's this is like a big deal here. But another big deal is all the trailers that come out
Yeah.
like on Super Bowl Sunday. Before it used to be like a big event to just show up, watch the trailers like live. But now social media, people drop trailers like early on. But I don't know, I think this crop they had on this past Sunday was pretty amazing.
This was a really impressive lineup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's kick things off with the first one. First up was Multiverse of Madness.
Like, where do we begin? Like,
Right.
my goodness.
So, what's the release date on Multiverse of Madness?
May 6th.
May 6th.
May 6th.
So, obviously, if you're in this sphere, if you're in the entertainment in general, you've probably heard about all the buzz and mystery and conspiracy theories surrounding Multiverse of Madness. This trailer only gave us a glimpse of it, but we have all kinds of theories of potential cameos that might come with this film.
Yeah, and I think they're not really being I believe they did put out press release at least on what the story is. Let me get that down real quick.
but I'm just shocked with Multiverse of Madness. Basically, you have Doctor Strange. He's getting to travel through these different realities, and it kind of gives Marvel an opportunity to show us a lot of different realms that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, man.
So, in this trailer alone, we got to see a zombified version of Doctor Strange.
A different version with like highlighted hair,
which I believe is Defender Strange. Is his name.
Defender. Okay.
Right.
And
I don't know, man. First off, okay, let's just talk about the trailer in general. Visually, it looks amazing.
Oh my gosh! I think that this was shown a little bit in like the early like teasers for it, but just that scene where him and Wanda are in that like orchard vineyard place.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
the vineyard.
Yeah,
it looks incredible.
It's like her zen area, and I just love how it's shot and just how I think it's just I think that's meant to be like her little safe zone wherever.
Yeah, who knows? Because I mean, look, in that trailer we have her speaking to the version of her that looked like it appeared in WandaVision.
Yes, it's the version
who knows what's going on
in
there.
the same house that they were in
house.
WandaVision as well.
So that's really. I don't know what we're going to get with this movie, but I'm so excited because, I mean, if you looked at the fan theories online, people are saying maybe Deadpool's in it. It looks like Patrick Stewart and the X-Men are going to have an appearance. Marvel's Illuminati is going to be in this film.
Speaking on that also, like, I think, for me, not only the visuals, because we're getting Sam Raimi back into superhero film. Sam Raimi's been out of the game since going on 15 years now. Last thing he did was Spider-Man 3, and this thing's kind of fitting that we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the first Spider-Man, and this guy is coming back to a franchise to kind of help kickstart back in 2002. To have him come back and to do such a big, just wild, zany movie, and to still also keep the Sam Raimi-ness in there. One shot I loved was Wanda standing there, all blood on her face, and she has her hand out, and like it just see the camera just like zooms into her eye. That's like, I think that's vintage Sam Raimi. If you watch any of these movies, he loves panning shots, especially panning shots that go into the actor's face to really get their emotions, get their feelings. And I love the fact that like Marvel's now, this will be the 28th film in the MCU now, and Marvel's still able to bring in a director such as Sam Raimi and have him play in their sandbox, but also still bring to it what made Sam Raimi what we love about him. So I saw a lot of the Raimi-ness in the trailer alone.
Sam Raimi, it looks like he's doing an incredible job with this film, but also you brought up Wanda, and there's been theories early on that she's going to be an antagonist in this film, and I think this trailer kind of gives the first confirmation of that with her great interaction with Doctor Strange, which is like, how is it that when you mess with the rules of space-time, they build you a statue, they honor you, but when it's me, I'm vilified. So
great point.
It looks like we're gonna get to see some of Wanda's wrath. We'll probably get to see her fight Doctor Strange, and even in the trailer, it looks like she fights maybe it's Captain Marvel.
I'm pretty sure this. I think that's either Maria or Monica Rambeau.
Right?
So it could be, but I believe that is Photon or Spectrum. So it's really cool, and just I don't know. Like, do you have any theories? Just before we move on.
Before we move on, we'll make this quick. I would really like to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in this. As part of the Illuminati. I would love to see a version of the Black Panther in this, because he's an original member of the Illuminati.
My money's on Killmonger.
I don't know how they'll handle that. If they got Michael B. Jordan,
my money's on
cameo as Black Panther in this, oh my gosh.
They already set us up for it with What If. Like, we've seen him. So we've seen him like that.
Anyway, I don't want to get bogged down.
Would you be able to trust him? Would you be able to trust him if he's there? Because
I think if he's only the Illuminati, like,
okay, he knows what's up.
Version.
He knows what's up. Okay. Yeah. For me, first off, I don't want to be this guy, but I just want it to be good. I hope this is good. Fair. Coming off of No Way Home, I think No Way Home was great in that it gave us all the Spider-Man goodness, all three in one, with their villains all in one, in a very great, compelling story. But I just hope Hollywood learns the right lesson from this. I think that was an example of bringing in cameos, but for story, but they didn't sacrifice the story. I think all the cameos were weaved into and were integral to Peter's journey. I just don't want, again, I'm a nerd. I don't want just Mr. Fantastic to show up and have it not make sense. Like, I don't want cameos for cameos' sake, which I hope isn't the direction Marvel's going in. I don't think they will, but that's just my own apprehension.
That's my one thing about this film. Okay, this is the last thing, and we'll move on.
Right.
I want them to go crazy with Multiverse of Madness. I want to see cameos for cameos' sake, just because this is the movie where you can get away with that. So
I
throw
really
all the
understand
fan
that.
service you want at me.
I understand that, and the one I'd like to see, man, um, besides Deadpool, which you know what, I know I was on the fence this whole time until I'm just recording this. I think he's in it. I think he's in it.
That's
Like, how hard is it to just have a quick
exactly.
scene of
Just a
him
quick
waving?
one shot. Like even if we're just passing through the alleys and we see him wave his hand, that'd be cool.
Yeah, or I think it'll be in a post credit scene. Hear me out. We get it. We get the first like actual post credit scene setting up another MCU movie, but at the very end, why not just get like a sling ring opens up and out falls Wade Wilson. Don't even have to have Ryan Reynolds. Just have Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds voicing over, just to say, hey, I'm here. But that's like my one hope. But other than that, I'm good.
Hey, to sum it up, trailer's amazing. If you haven't already watched it, you need to. Just hop on YouTube real quick. And I can't wait to see it when it comes out.
Me neither, man. So coming off of that, speaking of just craziness, we got our man Jordan Peele. This guy does not stop. One. He doesn't stop. Look, Jordan Peele announced this movie.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is Nope.
Nope. Thank you. Sorry.
The name of the movie.
Got too excited.
And this is going to be Jordan Peele's third film after giving us
Us and Get Out.
Us and Get Out, right?
Yes.
And so, Coast, what was your initial reaction to Nope, that trailer? Because we saw two different versions, by the way. There was the Super Bowl one, which is a bit shorter and a bit more confusing, perplexing, and then the second one, the full trailer,
the actual trailer,
gives us a better idea of what's actually going on.
First off, I just love how Jordan Peele's attention to detail and also atmosphere and setting up just a feeling of impending dread without
that's a fantastic way to say it,
but without having the whole like it's a scary movie type feel. It feels like you're watching normal people that you hang out with suddenly thrust into something, dare I say, otherworldly. Because I think this might end up being Peele's most ambitious. Because I think Get Out was a great freshman year start for Jordan Peele. He was hungry. He's been working on it for years. Had something to say. Us, though a lot of people didn't really dig it, I for the most part liked it. But again, it left it left us wanting more. With Nope, it's showing his progression. He's going bigger. This guy's going bigger and scale bigger, and I think just everything he wanted to do. Those first two, it's now led up to this, and just the look. They got I believe it's a cinematographer that shot. I believe it's Dune. I think to shoot this. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but it just looks gorgeous, and the setting's gorgeous.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head with especially the atmosphere that he establishes with this film. Because when you look at this, it's not some generic horror film, right?
Not
There's
at
something else going on here. And so, really, with the Super Bowl trailer that was released, it was a bit more not as organized as the larger full scale one that came out later on. It's mostly atmosphere, right? And we have this idea of maybe it's some kind of alien. We see a creepy hand, kind of. What is it? Fist bumping a child.
Yes,
right?
And then we see something walking along like it's really short, but has like a really pronounced head that's like walking.
Well, that's in the full trailer, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes,
right.
The full trailer. Yes.
In the first one, you still really can't tell what's going on, but in the full trailer that was released soon after, we kind of see that it does seem to be aliens. They do seem to be kind of. I don't know if it's full-blown attacking or invading this small...
I think New Mexico. But,
this small rural area.
And I think it's cool how they're kind of... Jordan Peele always bases his stuff in reality. In Get Out, we follow just a boyfriend and going home to meet his girlfriend's family. In Us, a family goes for a family vacation on in Santa Cruz. And this one is following a brother and sister team who actually own a horse ranch, whose horses are used in Hollywood. So again, I kind of got feels of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it kind of gave us like in the full length trailer, it gave a little backstory on how a lot of people don't know this, but like the first ever like moving picture, literally moving picture, was of a horseman, and the horseman was a black person, which giving us history and then context into like maybe what Jordan Peele's going to say. I think this might, because Jordan Peele always has to have a message. I think this might be the message here. Could be about how a lot of times, especially Hollywood, they use black voices, black bodies, black faces, black talent, but they don't really give credit. It kind of takes like almost damn near whole century to give that credit back.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I see that as a cool little like parallel to what's happening with that.
That's really interesting. Like, so you think it might be like an invasion of the body snatchers kind of thing?
Probably something like that, or just straight up invasion, something like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but with Jordan Peele twist. But before you go on, I said earlier, Hoyt Van Hoytema is the cinematographer. This is the guy.
Okay.
This is the guy that shot Dunkirk. He shot Interstellar. He shot Tenet. He shot Spectre. This guy understands scope, understands making things feel big, making things really, really pop and really be effective, and to have that combo, have Hoyt filming what Jordan wrote, it's such a great combo.
Yeah.
And also what I'm seeing a lot online is Nope. Usually Nope is like the thing you say when you see something scary, like, oh no, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, it's generally associated with you're just flat out running away from whatever it was. You're not even going to try to deal with it.
Yeah, but I didn't come up with this. Some really smart person on the internet said that it's actually an acronym. So Nope is what people are saying, that Nope stands for Not of Planet Earth, which makes total sense, because as you saw in the trailer, that was a spaceship.
Yeah,
that was
I
straight
wouldn't
a
put it
spaceship.
past Jordan Peele to have that be an acronym.
Yeah,
That's
to not
really
only
cool.
have your alien movie, but have a message to go with it. So.
Yeah, because I mean, look, we had shots of some sort of unidentified object in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
We had pictures of little dolls at like a carnival stand or something. But then later on, we see an alien who resembles the doll.
Awful lot.
So maybe these aliens have invaded this area before, and now they're coming back. But then, what about the Hollywood tie-in with the story of the background story of these characters? How does that come into play? So we'll see with Nope. You know, I'm really excited for it. Obviously, I loved Get Out, but then with what was it, with Us? Look, the thing about Us, I mean, for me personally, was that Jordan Peele got a little bit too caught up in the metaphor and symbolism that he was going for, that he ended up not serving the main story as well. Because when you look at Get Out, if you want to watch it and just completely ignore all the symbolism, it's still a great story about this man trying to get out of a terrible situation.
Tight script, tight screenplay.
If you want to ignore the story, just focus on the symbolism, it looks great. When it comes to Us, he sacrificed so much of that story to serve the symbolism and metaphors, and those metaphors aren't quite as clear and approachable. Like, because you can have a debate, hey, what was this even about? We're still not sure. I mean, with Get Out, it's obvious about like race relations in the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
With Us, maybe it's about wealth disparity.
Who knows?
That's what some people believe, but who knows for sure. So yeah, look, I'm excited about Nope. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, it's a day one. It's a day one viewing.
It's a day one viewing. So there you go.
Yeah, man.
All right. What's next for us, guys?
Well, hey, man. I think we should go back to the Jurassic World.
Oh, here we go.
It's always I'm always happy to go back to Jurassic World. Jurassic Park was like a movie I watched growing up. More so the Lost World Jurassic Park, the sequel. I watched that more so than the original. But again, it's a movie that stands the test of time. It's 65 million years in the making, and this one has been 4 years out since we had the last one, Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom.
Oh no, sorry, it's Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom. Yeah. So that's okay. But now we're finding us 4 years later. We have everybody back.
Right. Yeah. So
Everyone's back.
That's what I think is the highlight of this trailer, right?
I love that.
The original cast joining the new cast of this trilogy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's a great way to close out this new the sequel trilogy, basically having the original characters come back. So that's what I'm most excited about for this one.
You know what's crazy? Like, because Fallen Kingdom, it ended in a way where it's like, all right, everybody, dinosaurs are like here, they're in your backyard, they're in your cities.
Yeah, that's
deal with it.
Crazy. I don't know how that works.
But after watching this trailer, I think they're showing us that this isn't gonna work, and something's got to give, and this is why this is gonna be the last one they're gonna make,
because if it happened in reality, I mean,
well, we're all dead.
Well, yeah, we're all dead, but like, how long is it going to take for people to just say, like, hey, if you see a dinosaur, kill it to the best of your abilities? Like, how long do you just
can you even do that, though? Like, how are you going to fight that?
Well, because you're definitely going to have people, like, environmentalists and people saying, like, oh, we have to help these animals, but then, I don't know, when you have, like, a velociraptor come and steal your baby,
That's not your baby no more, it's the velociraptor's baby.
The velociraptor's baby,
you know?
So, something's got to give, like you said. I don't know how that works, but I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
we're going to find out.
Like Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, and like everyone's back. I love this. I love how they're kind of weaving together the cast from like two different eras of the franchise, kind of similar to what they did with Days of Future Past with X-Men, kind of marrying both franchises and their actors. So yeah, I love it. I don't know what this is about. You know, all I know is that the band's back together, and can't wait.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, look, obviously the dinosaurs, they're all over the globe at this point. You can't just shoot a few of them and call it a day. What do you do?
You know who has the answer? Jeff Goldblum does. Because Jeff Goldblum
might very well have the answer.
he always knows what to do. That silver fox, he looks way better with age. I'm definitely a stand for Goldblum, but yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah. So overall, obviously, great trailer. Can't wait to see it. I don't have any. Do you have any negatives about the trailer? I mean, anything that stuck out to you that was like, oh, this might not work?
Well, I guess just one storyline from the second one was this is a spoiler, guys, but Dr. Hammond's granddaughter was cloned.
Right. Very
She's
true.
an actual clone, and they threw that in there, and yeah, she's here.
She is still here.
Look, I have nothing against clones, guys. Come on, no hands, but it's,
It didn't work for you as a storyline.
it was because what's the name of that last one? Fallen Kingdom just had so much going on. When that occurred, when that reveal happened, I was like, okay, all right,
It wasn't a
okay.
perfect movie.
I enjoyed it, but that part was like, J.A. Leona, you did a great job with it, but I just that one piece, I was like, but
Yeah.
let's see.
I think critically, Fallen Kingdom it wasn't as well received, right? It's
Yeah.
one of the weaker entries in the franchise, but that's okay. There's a lot of buzz surrounding this new one. Obviously, people are pretty excited for it, so we'll see what happens.
Dinosaurs, man, eating people, that never gets old.
Yeah, that never gets old.
All right, now let's ruin our childhood, shall we?
Let's do it. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the newest trailer has just come out.
Gotta go fast.
So, I mean, this trailer is fantastic because obviously we get to see Sonic again, but it also introduces Tails to the franchise
And
as well as
Knuckles, man,
Idris
Knuckles.
Elba's Knuckles.
Knuckles, bro. I love this. You gotta watch the original, man. It's such a delightful
I'm going to.
movie.
I'm definitely going to.
It's definitely a family film, but I think what they did with Sonic, having him, being plucked from his home world to just be a fish out of water, and then pair him up with Jason Marsden. I think it worked. Jason Schwartz, the voice of Sonic, is great. Fun fact: he was John Ralphio on Community, on Parks and Rec. He did great. He's killing this role, so I'm glad he's came back for this. But yeah, I love this. They're able to capture not only the feel of it, but they're even able to incorporate parts of like levels that were in the games.
That was what really intrigued me about
Yeah.
this trailer. The fact that we got to see some levels of live action levels. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Do
Great
you
concept.
do you think this is how they should be doing video game movies? Like just
I mean, hey,
with
look,
this in mind.
Sonic is bankable for them. It was well received critically and financially. So I think the answer to that is yes, absolutely. This is the way to do it.
Because it seems that like over the years, Hollywood's just had a really tough time adapting these films. Like,
Right. I mean, there's been a tradition where video games, movies just tend to fall apart. They're often nonsensical, and I think that just that stems from there being so much lore in video games that it's hard to condense it down into a single story that's coherent and also pleases the fans. Because you fall into the trap of wanting to do all this fan service,
serving two masters,
and it doesn't make sense in the context of the movie you're making. So.
Yeah.
That's always been an issue, but here with Sonic, they've really kind of hit it. They know what they're doing with this character, and it's working for them. So I hope they keep it up.
Yeah, me too. Jim Carrey obviously is back as Eggman.
Oh,
He's just
fantastic.
chewing scenery. I've loved Jim Carrey since I was a kid, obviously with The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura. But like to see him just like he's having fun. He's having fun. He's not like he's an actor, but he's like he's giving his all in this performance. But like you can see that Carrey's having like a good time. So I'm glad they brought him back for the sequel. I hope he's in more installments of this. I love it.
Right, and we'll get to that later, but obviously, as of today, Sonic 3 has already been greenlit before Sonic 2 has even come out. So
Hey, that's nothing but good science. Just golden rings for everyone. So just good job. All right.
Alrighty. Next up, we have the new trailer for the Lord of the Rings series.
Oh, this is the one everyone's mad about, right? Because like the elves are black or something.
Right, there is some controversy about the new Lord of the Rings show coming out on it's Amazon, I believe. Right?
Yeah. Wait, so cousin Chris, so like, so we can have like dragons and elves and golems and orcs, but no black people.
Right. So there's been this controversy with one the casting, right? Some I don't even know if it's appropriate to call them diehard fans because I don't want to characterize the fan base as such. But there's a segment of the fans that feel it's very inappropriate to cast people of color in in these roles, such as the elves or the dwarves. They feel like just as with what we saw in the movie, they should primarily almost entirely be white. So
And their argument is based upon the lore and just what was in it. But you know, at the end of the day, guys, it's all fictional characters. You know, they're
yeah.
not. It's not based on anything real. But that's besides the point. The trailer, though, a little. It wasn't even. Would you even call it a trailer that they put out? It was more like a little snippet,
That
little
was going to
sizzle reel.
be my thing. Yeah, it's been more of a sizzle reel because we don't really have a feel for the story
Oh,
from
not at
this
all.
trailer.
Not
They
at
just
all.
have a series of images. Some of them look very beautiful.
You can tell though. One thing you can tell though is just the money put in. They're saying that
Yeah,
this is the most expensive TV show of all time.
ever made
Half a
per
billion dollars
episode.
put in. Half a billion dollars put in.
Yes.
I think 30 to 40 million per episode.
I want to say it was like 40 to 50 ish
So
million
literally
per
double the
episode.
amount of Game of Thrones had
Yeah.
in their heyday season. So yeah, it looked gorgeous. It looked like a
It
movie.
looks great. I mean, I can't say too much about it because I obviously I didn't get much appeal for the story from this trailer alone.
Yeah.
But what visually looks nice. I don't know what else. Did anything else stick out to you about it? Because I don't want to speak negatively of it, but it's like I need more before I can really make an opinion on this one.
That's not negative. That's just how it is. Like yeah, like I think we can agree what we saw was cool, but why should we care about these
Exactly.
people? Which
Exactly.
again, that doesn't mean we hate them or nothing. I
Right.
know that like the one lady who was gilded in armor
Glad you're
that's Gladriel,
right.
and the other young man the he had shorter hair.
Right.
That's that's Elrond,
Yeah.
and that's really cool to see. Like oh, this is them. I didn't think they got younger. I didn't know that they were young at any time. So
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah. So no, I mean, hey, I'm gonna give it a shot. I do feel like I want to see more from from this particular show next time. I want to see more from a trailer from them.
Yeah, they're still. This thing doesn't come out till like September. They have like
Okay.
like 7 months. This is more like the announcement to the world. They had like some money to spare, and they had like a really huge audience to get this out there at least, or at least people are now talking about it. Personally, I'm more of a fan of. I'm a fan from the movies, just the original three Lord of the Rings movies. So
But
I don't.
I haven't read the books.
Yeah, I'm not
but
like.
I love the movies though.
Yeah, so like cousin Chris and I here aren't like really. We're not that much beholden to any lore. We just like seeing cool stories be
I
told.
just like seeing cool stuff. I
That's
want to see
all.
things go boom and swords clash.
Of course, who doesn't want to see things go boom and swords clash? And you know, I think again, I think a lot of people just this whole. I think this statement kind of gets people riled up, but like representation does really matter. I think it's really cool that they're able to incorporate all races into this fantasy realm that was initially created with not people like us in mind. So to see it kind of like be turned around and turned about is really cool to see. Obviously, we're gonna like when it comes out, we're gonna judge it,
Based
fair
based
on its
the
merits.
content.
But I think it's awesome that they're bringing in such like a diverse group of people to like portray these characters. So I love that. Just I think seeing yourself just in media and anything like that is it's always good to see. It's always a good feeling. So I'm still really excited.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see them bring something new to this franchise. I can't wait to see where it goes. So, oh gosh. Next up, we have. Okay, this is gonna be the first one that I didn't really like the trailer. This is the Adam Project. This is a new Ryan Reynolds film coming to Netflix. So, Coast, you go first because obviously, I think you have a better opinion of it than I do.
No, like I look anything that has to do with time travel, I'm game. And this one is no different. And Ryan Reynolds, like I think that combination is great. But I think what makes this kind of interesting is that Ryan Reynolds is acting across. So I get so the story is a young boy meets an older version of himself, and they go on just this adventure across time and space. And I think I'm just a huge sucker for like that idea of it's the Back to the Future effect. Going back and hanging out with yourself, or seeing your father, or seeing just a younger version of yourself, and like learning about it. But he's teamed up again with the director of Free Guy. I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting the director of Free Guy's name. Give me one
You know
second.
what's funny? And I wasn't a huge fan of Free Guy.
Oh, I love Free Guy. I forgive me, crowd, for forgetting the director of Free Guy's name, a movie that I loved. See, Sean Levy. Sean Levy's great. Him and Ryan Reynolds are now re-teaming up. Obviously, if you like work with somebody, always come back and run it back. So yeah, I've loved Sean Levy's work since I was a child when I saw Big Fat Liar. Big Fat Liar was Sean Levy's first ever film
with Frankie Muniz.
And Paul Giamatti. When Paul Giamatti they turned them blue. Yeah, so he's done that. He did Cheaper by the Dozen. He did all the Night in the Museum movies. He did Real Steel, and most recently he was the shepherd behind. Well, the Duffer Brothers wrote this, but he was the producer of Stranger Things. So Levy's had his hand in all types of stuff from like pop culture that has been in the pop culture zeitgeist for the past 20 years. So to see him again just re-team up with Ryan Reynolds for this movie, it's great. It has that. It feels a lot like those like early '80s movies, not like not 80s, that '90s film. I remember Star Kid.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That's what the Adam Project kind of, in terms of like the look and feel of it, reminds me of Star Kid. Which I'm maybe that's good or bad, I don't know, but it looks good. Adam Project.
This one, when I watched this thing, I just didn't care. I felt like I've seen this movie already before. This seems like just a basic time travel movie to me, and felt kind of strangely low budget in a way. Because look at Ryan Reynolds' weapon. He's using like this little glow stick. It looks like something you get from an arcade. So things like that, I don't know. The story feels like it's well trodden. We're just going back over old ground.
Oh yeah, it's time travel.
A kid hanging out with his older self. I don't know, man. I didn't find much appeal to it.
I see that. Was Ryan Reynolds, because I think Ryan Reynolds has earned this, that he can sell pretty much almost anything, and we're invested.
He has great charisma. He's one of the biggest stars in the world for a reason right now. But I wish they'd given him a more interesting project to work with.
I can see that,
because this looks like so family friendly that it looks kind of just boring to me.
I will admit it does look generic, but again, like that Tomorrow War movie with Chris Pratt was also kind of generic looking. Turned out being pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I think you can be both generic looking, but as long as you like bring something unique or something at least memorable to the table. For me,
I hope they bring something memorable to it, because this looks like there's something Netflix can say, like, hey, we have this. It's just another movie that we cranked out.
They got money to blow, man. That Netflix commercial just showing all the stuff they got.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
My goodness,
a trailer of all their upcoming films. There was some really interesting ones there. We have Knives Out 2.
That was cool. Enola Holmes 2.
Enola Holmes, which was the first one was really well received.
Some Jamie Foxx movie things that's about that. Do you think that's about vampires?
Yeah, I think we had two separate Jamie Foxx movies advertised in the combined Netflix trailers. So one of them looks like it's about him trying to escape some vampires. I don't know if that's the confirmed monster, but something tried to attack him. Mm-hmm. And that one's called Day Shift, I believe. But yeah, no, Netflix has a lot of interesting projects on the way. I don't necessarily feel that the Adam Project is one of them. I think that's something I'll probably skip. But at least you enjoyed it, and I'm sure some of you listening to this will probably enjoy it too. So there you go. All right, next up on the plate, we have I believe this is a remake because they've already made one of this before, but this is Firestarter, a movie based off of Stephen King novel. Yeah,
I haven't seen the movie with Drew Barrymore in it.
That's right.
The initial one,
Drew Barrymore.
Didn't see it. Cousin Chris, we're officially old because Zac Efron is playing a dad.
Zac Efron is playing a dad.
He has the mustache and everything.
Troy from High School Musical now has children.
Wildcats.
So look, Firestarter, in case you don't know the premise, Zac Efron's daughter is a pyrokinetic. She can make things burn with her mind.
She's a mutant, basically.
And they are running from, I believe they're running from an organization that's trying to kidnap her and use her powers.
Dude, how is this not X-Men?
It does sound very much like X-Men. Yeah, I mean, the trailer itself was cool, but this was also another one that's like, I feel like I've seen this movie before. Like we just had this with what was it? The Superman knockoff version.
Oh, Brightburn was awesome though. I love when they take these low. Well, first off, they can't be big budget because no one's gonna do this. But like these low budget, down home feeling movies that have these fantastical things happen. Like, and with this Firestarter, I think what's really getting me is not only the cast, but little girl. She's creepy, very very creepy, and I love the. It's kind of weird to say, but like, I like how the fire looks. I think fire effects in cinema have just been like, it's hard to replicate it. Like it's hard. Usually it's all done in CG. I don't know if that was CG, but that stuff looked really real. It looked like it was on.
Now that you mentioned, there was this great scene where like her fire is starting to catch her. She's in the middle of class and she runs to the bathroom. She's trying to turn on all the faucets just to like keep it under control. All the water's boiling. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. So there are those moments in there that kind of intrigue me, but at the same time, it's like I still feel like I've already seen this. I mean, Brightburn has already done this with a Superman kind of character. Now we're doing this with a pyrokinetic character. Even though, I mean, obviously Firestarter, the novel came out years ago, so this was one of the originals in the genre. But
oh man,
I don't need this.
No, I can see that. I just now read like they're actually this is gonna be a day and date release. It's gonna be released in theaters and on Peacock, which I understand why they did that because COVID and whatnot. Theaters are now open. Stuff is beginning to open back up now, and like I think you're definitely cutting a movie's legs out severely when you give people the option to both stay at home and also go out to a theater, because the majority of people will actually just stay at home and watch this.
Look, in the past, was it 2 years, we've seen a lot of films obviously open day and day, which is when they open on streaming as well as in theaters.
The entire Warner Brothers release from last year did that.
Time and time again, we've seen films suffer from this in terms of their bottom line at the box office because people are just staying at home and watching on streaming. And so for them to do this once again to Firestarter is unfortunate. I think we're going to see their box office get hit pretty hard with this decision.
It's unfortunate, but I can kind of see why. It's not like big on everyone's radar.
Right.
Not like there aren't gigantic stars, like except for Zac Efron. So I don't know. I'm still excited for it. I love the fire effects. Think the girl is really really creepy. So I'm looking forward to it. I did not know it was going to be on Peacock, so I might, depending on the reviews, I might have to either stay home and go in.
If there's nothing else, I'll give it a shot in theaters. I'll go check it out, but it's not my most anticipated. Right?
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. Something that is an anticipated movie, I'd say, is Lightyear.
Lightyear.
I try to have a pun there, but it's Lightyear. So I gotta say, like what else you gotta say? It's the toy. Well, no, it's the movie that Andy from Toy Story saw, and then he went home and asked his mother to get the toy that they made from the movie. So it's super duper meta. It's what I've been told.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is this movie taking place in the Toy Story universe? This is a movie they saw and based the toys off of it, or did this actually happen in their universe? And when Buzz Lightyear came home, he was considered such a hero that they made him toys.
I think it's the first one, because I think we've established in Toy Story, like despite toys coming to life, I think that's like the most fantastical thing in the universe. I don't think there's an actual spaceman in Andy's life named Buzz Lightyear. I believe, like think of this. That Buzz Lightyear movie is like the Star Wars movies for us. And they made a toy. Imagine like they made a toy out of Boba Fett, and like every kid wanted to get it. That's essentially what I think it is.
That's fair, because I mean, look, in this new trailer, obviously, we have a Buzz Lightyear and a team of astronauts.
Star Command.
Yeah, Star Command, and so they are apparently marooned on this alien planet.
Yeah, and they've been trying to actually like find like livable Earths. Other livable Earths, and they just got stranded on this planet.
Right. So it looks like the goal is obviously to get back home, and they're facing hostile aliens on the planet. And they're trying to escape, right?
Mm.
So I don't know, because they're on an alien world. Is it so far fetched to believe like once they get back to Earth, it'll be like the normal Earth we know, and then he becomes this hero that gets his own toy, as opposed to this just being a movie in the Toy Story universe?
To be honest, if this movie ends with him going back and like they have like Easter eggs to say, oh, this is actually happening in the Toy Story world, I think I'd be kind of let down, because
Really?
here's why. Like, I like the fact that like we're getting a spin-off of Toy Story, but it's like not in Toy Story. It's just literally based off of like the toy. Like it's not beholden to anything we've seen before. I want this Lightyear movie to be like its own contained thing, because you don't really have to bring in all the other stuff. This looks great on its own. It looks like it's a great space. Like seriously, like we're getting a full CG rendered space adventure movie done by Pixar, arguably one of the best in the business at doing just CG movies. So I think having that connection, like I don't know, if at the end, I don't know, if at the end of Lightyear it ends and then the screen pans out and we see Andy and his mom sitting in a theater watching it,
right,
I won't be mad, but I just hope it's just a separate movie, and in our own headcanon as fans, we can say, oh, it's the movie that Andy saw, or oh, it's the movie that they base it off of. But to have that confirmation in this movie, I think it'll kind of, well, again, I haven't seen it, but I think it might not be what's best for this movie.
Gotcha.
If they brought it back.
I'm kind of hoping that he's like a real person in Andy's world. Like he's an astronaut. They have this mission. It goes haywire, and then they come home, and like the world finds out what they did, and then he like becomes this big celebrity. He gets sequels and stuff.
Because that could actually happen.
Right. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But like, yeah, as far as the trailer itself goes, looks great. I love that we got to see Zurg, right?
Zurg, we saw the big robot version.
Robot, like, yeah, it's awesome.
But it was a blink and you miss a moment. There's a big Zurg, but you also saw actual Zurg. Remember that scene of the person that was slamming the monitor screen? That was like what Zurg's. So Zurg isn't like this big robot. That's just
he's the person controlling them.
Yeah. That big robot isn't Zurg. That's just one of his bots. But like, there's an actual Zurg that we'll meet in this movie. So yeah, not only that, but I love this cast. You got Chris Evans, you got Keke Palmer, she's gonna have a big summer between that and Nope. So, and they also got Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. So Pedro was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
who is he playing in this?
He's playing that guy that was helping on his ship that called him captain and got taken away.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's Pedro. So like they have a pretty cool like voice cast. The little cat that's doing the voice of that cat. He's
great.
He's actually like I think he's the head animator on Lightyear. I think Pixar does that a lot, where they get either the director or somebody that works on it to just voice a character. It was last done with Brad Bird in The Incredibles. Brad Bird, the director, he's the voice of Ida Mode.
Ida Mode.
Okay, cool. Yes, he's her. So I like that. I like the whole class that they have coming in.
Yeah, no, look, I'll be honest. I am not particularly excited for Lightyear. It hasn't really been on our radar. This latest trailer helped that a bit. I still haven't made a final decision, like if I'm going to see it, but I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like I understand. I think this. It might be a tough sell because folks are probably going to be like, "Yo, what is this exactly? What are y'all trying to get us to see?" But I don't know. It just looks cool. And again, I think it just says here in the premise, it says that it revolves around the fictional origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the character who inspired the action figure in Toy Story, the Toy Story film. So you might be onto something. This is about the guy who inspired him. So
we'll see, because hey, maybe the movie that was just made up inspired him. Maybe it was just a movie in their world and kids really liked it. Or he could be a real astronaut, which is what I hope happens.
I hope this is good. If this is good, we get that Woody Western spin-off movie. Woody's round up the movie.
A Woody movie could work. Be like a Western, but who knows? But now let's get to the trailer that I think I love the most out of everything in this category. This was obviously the big winner here. The DC 2022 Showcase trailer, which featured footage from The Flash, Black Adam, The Batman, and Aquaman 2. So wow, we got so much from this one. Obviously, the Batman, we've been talking about this for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Batman's going to be huge. Opens up March 3rd. We're going to be there first day, obviously.
And check out for our early review of it.
No, yeah, you're going to be seeing it early because you got the IMAX experience.
Yes,
You'll
yes.
be able to post your first reaction.
Yes, listen out for that.
So, yeah, I don't think we need to go over Batman again because obviously we love Batman. The trailers have been amazing for it.
Yeah.
It's great. The Flash. Oh, there's a lot going on there because obviously, if you're familiar with Flashpoint, which is a story they seem to be adapting here, the Flash changes the DC universe, and some people are saying, "Oh, DC is going to use this to kind of reset the DCEU," because as to date, it hasn't been great. There's been a lot of misfires in their universe in comparison to Marvel's. Right?
Yeah, you say that.
So this could be a clean slate for them. This could be a fresh start with this movie, and obviously we have the Flash. He's running into alternate versions of himself. He's running into Michael Keaton's Batman and a Supergirl.
And another version of himself.
And those are just the cameos that we know of. There could be a lot of other things going on here. So, Coach, did you have any reaction to that Flash footage that we saw?
Yeah, I think this could be. I think, as I said before, I hope Hollywood takes the cues from the Spider-Man No Way Home and go and do it the right way. And I think this is an example of Hollywood taking that example and like running with it, so to speak, and doing it the right way. Just having these just seeing Michael Keaton, just hearing that voice, hopefully we get to see the Batmobile, but seeing just the other version of Supergirl. I just love that we haven't gotten like a actual trailer. All the footage we've seen has just been like stuff from DC fandom or like
we got teasers, but we don't have like the full-blown trailer that tells us the story.
That's what I'm waiting on. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to pull the trigger yet on like saying, oh man, this movie. Oh, obviously I'm going to see it day one, but like in terms of like, does it have my interest? You know, I don't think it's. I wouldn't. I'm not there yet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not there yet. It does look really cool. I love his new suit. I love that. I love the idea. Again, if it's time travel, it's alternate dimensions. I love. But I don't know much about it.
That's interesting because I
step all in.
In contradiction to what I've said about some of these other trailers, like they don't have to show me anything else for the Flash. I'm going to be there first day.
Yeah, just say it.
Don't even tell me the story. I'm going to show up there and figure it out.
Exactly.
But okay, what is it? We covered the Flash. We covered the Batman. Aquaman 2. What did you think of the footage we saw? Because I think the big takeaway from that was the new Aquaman suit.
That's all we got, was just him standing in like a big cavern place, but in his new blue suit, which I'm not like against. I know you have your opinions on this suit.
I was not a fan of the blue suit.
Look, I think it's just a suit. I don't think that's like the suit he's gonna like have. There have been some like rumblings that we'll finally see him in like full like. Well, we still saw the end of the first Aquaman, but like we're actually gonna get the actual golden hair in this one, which I was never like a purist on Aquaman's look.
Have to happen with blonde hair.
You don't have to. I actually love the fact that this Aquaman was like more Pacific Islander uninspired. That's kind of really it's very unique to this universe's version of Aquaman, but you always got to give fans a little something to bite onto. So I dug it, but I we move on. Dr. Fate's gloves are shiny.
Oh, okay. Let's hop right into the
Dr. Fate's gloves are shiny.
So real quick, Joy.
It's glorious.
Black Adam trailer.
It's glorious.
We got to see some background for Black Adam. It looks like he lost his son at one point. He might have been a slave at one point. He gained his powers, and now he's in modern day. He's facing off against the Justice Society of America.
I think he's with them, though.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? Dr. Fate, who's played by Pierce Brosnan, is talking with him. It's like he's trying to get him to join them, trying to get him to use his powers for good. And obviously, during that, we got to see our first shots of the Atom. We got to see Hawkman. We got to see Dr. Fate. And these costume designs, they look amazing. They really do. Like, such a great take on the characters.
It's one thing to see it like on like a comic panel or like on like a TV as in cartoon version, but just to see like a live action like iteration of Dr. Fate, which we've never gotten before. We've gotten a little bit. There was one cameo in Smallville like 20 years ago.
But it doesn't look anything like this, though.
Nothing like this. Yeah. And it's Pierce Brosnan, which I think that's such great casting. There was, I know Alice Basher was there, but there was another hero there. The girl, she's someone. I'm trying to figure out who this actress was.
Is it Whirlwind? She has tornado powers.
She's in green. She's clad in green. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but no, she looked great too. She really did.
Cyclone.
I did
not know I did not know that she was a character from DC Comics.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this, though, because I think this is a big question we have. Where is this world? Where does it take place? Because who is this... Look, in the DCU as we know it, Superman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, The Flash, this was the first time the Earth ever had heroes banding together to protect it. And now, are we going back in time? This is the Justice Society. You guys don't know the comics. Justice Society came before the Justice League. Mm-hmm. They featured some of DC's oldest and original characters. And so, in this movie, we're getting some Justice Society, but where does this take place in the timeline? Are we saying that these are heroes that existed in the same continuity as Superman, Batman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, and the world just forgot about them? We forgot to mention them? Or is this a different reality? Or is this something that happens post-Flashpoint, where we have a new world where these people existed and came before the Justice League?
Man, I think it might be post-Flashpoint. I think whatever happens in Flashpoint. I read today somewhere on it was on Facebook, but there was a DC group that was saying how they believe the events of Flashpoint, because this is kind of going into what happened in Peacemaker. They're saying the events of that Peacemaker happens post Flashpoint, which I don't think so. That doesn't make sense, because Peacemaker literally happens right after Suicide Squad, the movie, and nothing from Flashpoint, as far as we're concerned, had any bearings in that movie. Maybe they'll go back in Flashpoint and just reveal it. No, it's been changed, and here's what it is. But for I'm concerned, I think you're right. I think this might take place in a post
Flashpoint.
Whatever Barry did, this is what, because it has a different look to it. It just has a different look.
He has his new suit, by the way.
Yeah,
but obviously, in the Peacemaker ending, the cameo from Justice League at the end,
he was in his
original suit.
I loved it, and again, give another shout out to Aldous Hodge. He's playing Hawkman, looking incredible.
Yeah, it's a really great costume.
I love that. I also love that Hawkman is a black dude. I know it doesn't really matter, but again, I said before, just having that other iteration of him, and of course, Aldous Hodge is just a great actor. I'm just happy for him, because
it's great casting in general.
It's the biggest role of his life.
See that representation. So
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. So yeah, man, we were embarrassed with just the riches of just great trailers last week.
Yeah, no, there were a ton. I think definitely most anticipated is, of course, all the DC films.
Yes.
I'm still, and of course, Multiverse of Madness. That's going to be a huge one.
Yeah.
But beyond those, beyond all the superhero stuff, we have Nope and Jurassic World, Sonic the Hedgehog. So all of those, can't wait to check them out. As for the weaker ones, Atom Project, Firestarter, Lightyear, I don't know, I'm still on the fence. I need to see something more, probably, if I'm going to actually watch those.
Yeah, and look, just because a trailer doesn't look nice doesn't mean the movie's going to be bad. The trailer's job is just to get you interested. Sometimes a trailer won't hit you like it does someone else. That's totally fine. At the end of the day, as long as you give the movie a chance and make up your own mind for it, that's all that matters. But, it's the job of the trailer to get you hyped and to get you informed about whatever this movie is, and we got a bunch of them last week. So.
Yeah, we did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all that knocked out, let's jump straight into our movie news.
Let's do it. So,
Ghost, what do you have for me first?
Well, Cousin Chris, looks like Shang-Chi's ditching the MCU for some beachfront property in Malibu. It's been reported by our friends at Hollywood Reporter that Simu Liu has joined the cast of the upcoming Barbie movie. So Liu is in negotiations to join the Greta Gerwig directed live-action film adaptation based on the massively popular toy line. So Margot Robbie is starring as the titular character, with Ryan Gosling playing Ken and America Ferrera and Kate McKinnon rounding out the cast. Greta Gerwig, she directed Lady Bird, also directed Little Women. She's a acclaimed director and actor in her own right. So her and Noah Baumbach are going to serve as writers, with Greta Gerwig directing. Margot Robbie's killing it. This is the latest Margot Robbie produced project. She did I, Tonya. She did Birds of Prey a couple years ago via her Lucky Chap production banner. And she's slowly solidifying herself as a bona fide Hollywood producer. So, Cousin Chris, so what are your thoughts on Shang-Chi, in the Barbie universe?
I love Simu Liu. I think that's a great addition to any cast.
Love that guy.
But obviously, the Barbie movie, I'm probably not the target demographic for the Barbie movie.
Oh, you're not? Could have sworn you had a couple in your closet, no?
That's a bit dark tune.
Barbie dolls in your closet?
I don't think
so. Or
so.
more of a Power Rangers guy, sorry.
Sorry, yeah. We were all Power Rangers people, but...
speak for yourself.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, Barbie, not so much for me. I know that this film actually has a pretty interesting history.
Yes, it does. It's a lot of hands have been going into it. Everyone from Diablo Cody, who she wrote and actually won an Oscar for writing Juno. Diablo Cody, she was actually first on the scene trying to write a treatment for it, and she wanted this to be like a comedy that kind of poked fun at the whole like all-American girl thing that Barbie stood for. And to me that sounds really awesome, but just folks weren't ready for it. Then soon after, like, Amy Schumer got involved, and she was going to star in it, and also write. And again, it was also pitched as a comedy. Again, it changed hands again until Anne Hathaway came along to star. But it also got done out. So just over the years, different actresses have been on there. But what stayed the same is Diablo Cody's initial pitch to make it a comedy, to make it self-referential, to make it kind of just take because the thing with Barbie is like, it's all American girl. She's kind of, and that whole thing might need an update for 2022 to say the least. So I'm glad someone like Diablo Cody helped like break that script about almost 7-8 years ago. So now we come to having Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig just on the scene, and I like the progression. It's been a long journey, but I think having it be, I don't think having it be a straight up like adaptation of a Barbie straight to the video movie would do it justice or be right. I don't know.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out with this film. First off, are we saying that this is a woman, this is an all-American woman just growing up and going through changes in her life, or is this like an actual Barbie doll, and we're in the Barbie world?
It's like life-sized?
Is it like Tyler Banks' life-size, where like a natural doll has to come to life and fit into the real world? Like, what's their angle with this one?
I think, you remember the G.I. Joe movies? It's like that. These are based off of the action figures.
I didn't think about that, but that's brilliant.
And we'll put them in a quote unquote real world. Obviously, G.I. Joe isn't real, but yeah, put them in our world and see how they interact.
That could work. So really, she's just all-American girl growing up, and
I think she
has this boyfriend, Ryan Gosling as Ken,
right? And Simu Liu, who could be the third wheel in that love triangle, because love triangles they work. So
yeah, I mean, look, obviously this isn't for me, but like it could be pretty interesting.
Like, would you see it at least? Like, give it a shot?
I'll need to see a trailer. I need to see where they're going with it. What's their angle? And maybe if it's something interesting, why not?
I think that first trailer they're gonna put out is gonna be pretty important, just to get everybody like a sense of what they're going for. Is this? But again, if you have people like Greta Gerwig, who's writing, and she wrote this, and she's directing. Again, if you're familiar with what Greta does, a lot of the way she writes her characters, they're really dialogue heavy. So a lot like how Diablo Cody does, Greta Gerwig has a really good sense for writing dialogue, especially for women.
She does.
Especially for women.
Especially like Jennifer's Body. Like, come on.
Yeah. So and Juno. Greta Gerwig has that same like talent to do that. So I'm actually I have all the faith that Greta Gerwig could do this, and she's also a great director in her own right. So who in my opinion hasn't made a bad movie in her career. So this is actually a big win for the Barbie movie to have this kind of talent, in front of and behind the camera, and just adding more talent in Simu Liu. It's a slam dunk, it's home run. It's all those sports terms that I'm trying to pull out right now. So
gotcha.
It's a hole in one. That's my last sports term.
So, okay, do you think you're going to give it a shot?
Watch it? Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, we'll see what happens when the first trailer comes out.
I just won't tell them what I'm buying it for when I get to the box office.
Yeah, just hide it under something.
One ticket for Shang-Chi 2, You mean Barbie? Oh, no, I'm Shang-Chi too.
Yeah.
Damn ticket. Jesus. Anyway, what's up next, Cousin Chris?
All right, next up we have Blade Runner 2099. So this is coming to us from Variety.
Ooh.
Amazon Studios has put a live-action series set in the Blade Runner universe into development. Ridley Scott, who directed the original 1982 Blade Runner movie, is executive producing the series. Blade Runner 2099 is a sequel to Blade Runner 2049, which was released in 2017 and directed by Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve.
No, Denis. You're
Denis?
Yeah, Denis. Yeah, it's kind of...
Well, Mr. Villeneuve, I know you're listening right now. I just want to apologize right now. Did I spell his last name wrong?
Yeah, we don't hate you, France. It's just Cousin Chris that hates you. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay, and Amazon has actually been putting a really big push on Blade Runner. Obviously, if you've been paying attention, they have the new Blade Runner anime that's out right now, Blade Runner Black Lotus, which I've seen the first few episodes of. It's actually pretty cool.
That's Blade Runner?
Yeah. It's actually really cool and worth checking out if you haven't already.
Where's it on?
It is on, I watch it on a site that technically isn't,
RMT.
might not be. Anyway, but it's on. If you want to Google it, you can find it on the proper channels and watch it legally. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, no, so Amazon is really trying to expand the Blade Runner universe. And I think that's an interesting move because
Oh yeah.
Blade Runner 2049, as most people know, it was not particularly well received.
Criminally under... Well, no, people loved it, just no one saw it. That's the thing.
Yeah, excuse me, that's correct. People who saw it enjoyed it, but the marketing was not the strongest for it. It didn't really get people out to watch this film, and so it suffered financially. It was considered a bit of a failure. So I'm thrilled that it's getting a second chance in terms of a live-action TV series. That's something we've never seen from this franchise before, so that's really cool. But, Coach, I don't know, what do you think about Blade Runner? Are you excited? Are you going to check it out?
Oh, I'm definitely excited. Oh, and it could be... You can catch Black Lotus on Crunchyroll.
Thank you. Yes.
Crunchyroll always coming through. But no, honestly, I've been I'm a fan of the original Blade Runner. I actually bought the final director's cuts. It's on Blu-ray and Ultra HD because I'm a big giant nerd. But I just love the world. With the whole world of just android, futuristic but noir type setting, and I think I think the world that they built in that '82 version, and then subsequently to bring it into 2049 with the 2017 version, was such a great, because it's really hard to do a sequel for a movie that's like 30 plus years old,
right.
And there's no real good way to do it, but if anyone knows how to do it, it's Denis Villeneuve. This guy has been killing it, from Prisoners to Sicario to this to Dune. Like Denis Villeneuve just understands. Like he has a good eye for shot selection, has a good eye for showing, not telling, using the camera as using the camera and scenes as the character in whatever scene he's filming. And Blade Runner 2049 was a really great masterclass of that. I have not seen Black Lotus yet. So I know nothing, so I do want to check it out. But to hear that they're gonna then turn this into a TV show, I think everyone back in the day, I think the idea of having a TV show instead of a movie was like, people laughed at that. You're like, oh, you're doing a TV show, but no, like the good thing about TV is like this long form storytelling. You're able to really live with and learn about and grow with these characters.
Exactly, it gives us time to invest.
Yeah, that you couldn't do in a 2.5 hour film. Like this is like these are 8 hour long films, but we're like getting in these big long seasons, and we're able to really explore the world, and a world such as Blade Runner, which is so rich with just detail and different characters and different areas of the world to go. Like to have that be in a TV form, and of course, is this Apple TV is doing this?
This is Amazon.
Amazon TV? Okay. Amazon has all the money, so they have this and Lord of the Rings. Like, they just got...
No, I mean, we're still in the middle of streaming wars. This is a golden age for content creators.
Tell me
Things
about
are getting grabbed left and right. Franchises are getting expanded, So I'm glad to see that Blade Runner's getting this treatment from Amazon, and I'm going to tune in. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, me too. Definitely tune in.
So, all right. I mean, hey, with that one knocked out, what's next up on the list, Cos?
Oh man, so looks like things are going to be so they're not going to be so quiet at the Paramount, because according to Variety, there's a spin-off and also a sequel to The Quiet Place. So according to Variety, the spin-off to A Quiet Place is going to be helmed by Michael Sarnowski. He recently did 2021's Pig that starred Nick Cage. You should definitely go see it. All hail Nick Cage. He's awesome. On top of that, so Paramount also announced that A Quiet Place 3 will come to theaters sometime in 2025. They haven't confirmed yet if Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, or Noah Jupe are even in it, but based upon how Part 2 ended, it's almost safe to assume that they are. John Krasinski has also yet to confirm his involvement as director, but I think he's coming back. I think Krasinski's just he's kind of busy. I think he's up next doing a film called If with Ryan Reynolds. Kind of sort of sounds like the Adam Project, about a little kid that his dad is telling him bedtime stories and they inexplicably come to life. And it sounds really cool. So Krasinski's kind of has his hands full, hopefully with Fantastic Four. But so it'll be about 3 years before we see like an actual legit sequel to Quiet Place Part 2. But Cousin Chris, I know you're not really seeing the Quiet Place movies.
That's my confession. I have not seen Quiet Place 1 or Part 2.
About these movies I haven't seen.
But I want to. I'm going to watch these, especially now because all the critical reviews of this have been amazing. People love this franchise, and I am going to watch them.
Yeah, I think what makes Quiet Place so unique is it plays with sound. I think sound is a thing that like a lot of horror films either use to some detriment, but the really, really well crafted ones use sound as a character, use sound as a way to really get you in the mood and get you like in a headspace. And A Quiet Place, especially that first one, did such a good job of like having certain sounds. In A Quiet Place, a certain sound can mean, oh no, but another sound can be like, oh, what was that? Like the way they play with it is just so well done. So to see them expanding, because it's a terrifying world of A Quiet Place. You have these. If any of you don't know what it is, simply enough, The Quiet Place is about when one day these aliens from another world crash land on Earth, and their whole thing is the aliens cannot see, but they can sense sound vibrations, and unfortunately, any kind of sound vibration harms them. So what do you do when something harms you? You kill it. So the aliens destroy any and everything that makes noise, and when you're on Earth, that's death to everybody. So it's a great concept, and John Krasinski was able to tell a really personal, family-oriented story in that first one, blow it all out, and expand the world in the second one. And now we're getting a spin-off now, giving another director in Sarnowski, who's super talented, a chance to add his own stamp. I love this. I love what Paramount's doing. I love what Krasinski's doing. I love that Paramount understands they have a potential universe on their hands. I know folks don't like that whole universe share thing, but I think they have a potential like really, really good one on their hands. So to see them really going full steam ahead on both the spin-off and the sequel, I'm really excited. So yeah, please watch them.
Yeah, well, so let me ask you this though. Okay, the aliens in this film, they're super sensitive to sound.
Yes.
Can sound kill them?
Yes. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, so sound can kill them.
So sound went. So the way they are, like, they're like almost nearly indestructible. You shoot them, nothing happens. So one of the characters, who's the daughter, John Krasinski, his daughter in the movie, she has a hearing. She's deaf, and they realize that her hearing needs to give off a frequency which just sends the aliens in a frenzy and like stuns them, which leaves their brain open to be taken out with conventional bullets and guns.
I see.
So that's a big part of the first one, finding that out. That was like a huge arc for like John Krasinski and his daughter.
Really
so yeah, it's very, very creative. They're unlike any movie monster you've seen before, is what I can say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, wait. I mean, I'm gonna watch them. So.
What you got next, Cousin Chris?
Yeah. With that one knocked out, let's hop straight into the next one. This is coming to us from The Verge. Stranger Things, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man.
This week, we got the release date for the 4th season of Netflix's hit show, Stranger Things, along with the announcement that the show will come to an end in its 5th season. Because of the 4th season's runtime, the Duffer Brothers, the showrunners, and Netflix ultimately landed on a decision to split Season 4 into 2 separate volumes consisting of 9 episodes each that will apparently be far longer than any we've seen from Stranger Things so far. So Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1 premieres May 27th, and Volume 2 premieres July 1st. And I think this is actually one of the most interesting parts of the story here, because in terms of the 5th season, once the series comes to a close, that's not going to be it for Stranger Things. This is a quote from the showrunners.
Okay, cool.
There are still many more exciting stories to tell within the world of Stranger Things. New mysteries, new adventures, new unexpected heroes. But first, we hope that you stay with us as we finish this tale. Started with, of course, Eleven and her friends. So, Coast, you're hearing this, you're hearing that Season 4 is going to be separated into 2 volumes, you're hearing that Season 5 is going to be the final season, and you're hearing that there's going to be spin-off series within that universe. What stands out to you? What are you most excited to see?
What stands out to me most is the fact that these are showrunners that know when to call quits. A lot of times we've seen in history of TV, shows overstay their welcome. They run into the ground. I think, for an example, a lot of people use is Lost. Lost kind of lost, for better or worse, got lost for the sense at the end. But then that's why I appreciated a show. It's a comedy show, but a show like Key and Peele. Key and Peele they ran for 4 or 5 years. I think it was 5 whole seasons. They got in, did what they wanted to do, and went their separate ways. Not because they ran out of ideas, but they just understood that, hey, good things have a beginning, middle, and end. Right. And I think the Duffers, even before they pitched this to Netflix, the Duffers already had the whole entire series written out. So when Ross and his brother, and I forgot the other guy's name, when the Duffer brothers went to go pitch it to Netflix back in 2014, 2015, they wrote what they called the Bible, which is basically all of the rules and all of what the goings on of the world, and the rules of and that means the rules of the Upside Down. That's everything. They wrote it all out and had that be their North Star, and they used that in their pitch when they're pitching the show to Netflix. So I think even back 7 years ago, they knew we're going to go 5 seasons.
Interesting part of the story. They even talk about the fact that they planned this out to be exactly 5 seasons from the start. So
I love that.
It's great that they have their fixed beginning, middle, and end, and now we're going to see that end. But it's not the end of the universe. We get to see some other spin-offs.
Thank you. They're closing their loop, but they're also allowing other loops to be open, right, which I love. Dude, these kids are getting old, man.
Exactly. I'm sure they're all pretty eager to move on to new projects.
I don't blame them. And you see 11, what's her name? Millie Bobby Brown. Mm-hmm. She's arguably the biggest star on the show. She's getting more and more offers. Finn Wolfhard, he was just in Ghostbusters. He's getting some more there. I don't know what's going to happen, but I forgot that boy's name. Caleb McLaughlin, a lot of fans are trying to cast him as Virgil in Static Shock because HBO MAX is doing a Static Shock movie. So these kids are being tapped for different stuff. So the fact that the showrunners, one, they have a story already planned out, which is comforting to know, so they know where it's going, and 2, they're allowing more stories in that universe for other people to tell. They're giving other people opportunities to get their feet in and direct and write, which I love. They've been the shepherd and showrunners for so long. The fact they're gonna now hand the keys over, or just at least take a little bit of a step back and be more of executive producers, is great. So I'm loving this.
So hey, with that one knocked out, let's hop right into our next news topic.
Well, we're going to activate these powers because the Wonder Twins are getting a live-action movie coming to HBO MAX. So Yahoo Entertainment reports that the DC's Wonder Twins is getting the feature full-length film treatment, and they hired Adam Sykes. See, now I'm having problems. Sykes-Kiel. Your name's weird, Adam. Anyway, he worked on the... sorry, Adam. Adam actually worked on the upcoming Black Adam, starring Dwayne Johnson, and he will write and direct this movie. So they definitely have faith in this guy, because clearly if they're going to tap him for another movie. Okay, so in case you guys know, the Wonder Twins, it follows a pair of alien siblings named Zan and Jaina, who hail from the planet Exor, and have a pet space monkey named Gleep.
Yeah, there's a lot with the Wonder Twins.
All right, man.
I just don't know, man. So, look, let's just get into it.
I'm sorry.
If you don't already know, the Wonder Twins were made for the old
Super Friends
cartoon show that was made back in the...
I believe it was the 60s.
I think 80s?
Older than us. I think it was even before the 80s.
70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere in that range. So that was a pretty old cartoon. They were made specifically for that cartoon. They were a bit more on the comic relief side of things. They're not considered particularly great superheroes.
But they were great comic relief. They were great comic relief. I'll give them that.
And so you have the female character whose name is
Jaina,
and she can transform into any animal she can think of when, of course, she puts her ring against her brothers and say Wonder Twins powers activate, right? So she can become any animal, but he, and this is like kind of one of the bigger reasons that this duo are a joke, he can turn into any state of water.
Only liquid. So is it only water or any liquid?
Any state of water. So a lot of the times you have him literally turn into a bucket of water to trip off villains or things like that in the show.
So the Family Guy bit was real?
They made a parody of them on Family Guy.
Oh no, I'm sorry, no. He turned into a tampon in that. He can't turn into a tampon, can he?
Well, anyway, we probably shouldn't even mention Family Guy on the show. But the point is, they're joke heroes for the most part.
For the most part, they're joke heroes.
In the comic books, there have been some more serious takes on them. Like one writer that had a really long run with them said that if you look at it correctly, these are two individuals that are really supposed to be a single person, and they've been split in half. And it kind of talks about their struggles and how they deal with that, the way they think.
That's really interesting.
If DC were to take that approach with it, kind of take the characters more seriously, maybe that might be a bit more worth watching. But for right now, a lot of people are saying, no one asked for this. Why are you giving us this film? You have so many other unique and interesting characters to choose from. Why give these two a movie? Coast, what do you think? Is it ridiculous, or is there hope here?
On paper, it definitely sounds ridiculous. Just, you saw me, I couldn't even get through that description without laughing. I think Gleek's what got me. Is a monkey. That's
will we see the pet monkey? That's
dude. If Gleek's not in there, we're gonna riot. But no, I definitely. On paper, it sounds kind of silly, but again, it's all about execution. Anything can sound silly on paper, but it's all about how you do it. I think maybe I personally would not go the more serious route. I think whoever is doing this, I haven't seen Adam's work. I haven't seen Black Adam, but I think whoever's doing this should be a balance. I don't think Wonder Twins should get sorry to say, it should not get the Zack Snyder treatment. Not everything needs a Zack Snyder. Not everything needs that kind of treatment. Some things, like from the material, I think this lends more lighthearted. I think this might be more of a comedy, more of a buddy duo, like sibling comedy, action adventure, which I think is good. I think there'll definitely be a lot of instances where they can make fun of
the fact that their powers are sent.
Yeah, specifically Zan. I think a lot of humor can come to the fact that Zan can only do so much when his sister can do a lot. But also, I think there's still room for them to bring in the fact that, hey, we're the same person, and this kind of sucks that we're split. So there's definitely, I think they should do what the MCU does. The MCU does this actually pretty brilliantly. Marvel's able to balance both, the light and the dark. They're able to have really hard-hitting stuff, but then they can cut the tension with some humor, but also that humor is used also to, when again the darkness happens, it jars you again. So I think they should really do, I think they're going to do it that way, have like a really good mixture of having this be still in the DCU, but have some fun. Like and laugh and just understand that like these are joke characters. I think the writers and the producers of this movie understand that. So yeah, I'm optimistic for it, but I'm also happy that HBO MAX is kind of beginning to round out their DC movie slate. The DC movies are coming to HBO Max. Yeah.
As far as tone goes, I think an Aquaman tone would be perfect for these two.
Yes.
Where, you have the action, but then there's also kind of the fun, light moment. I mean, most of the movie's pretty fun and light, right?
Yeah.
You have these great visuals. I think that tone would kind of fit them perfectly.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go dark and gritty, like more of a Zack Snyder Man of Steel feel for this film, that would be odd, But at the same time, maybe that's exactly what these characters need to stop being viewed as a joke.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't look away if they did that.
If they want to go that serious with it, it'd be kind of strange, but it could work. Or you kind of say, like, no, we don't want to do the Aquaman, we don't want to do the Man of Steel either. We go for more of a Riverdale feel. Because, I mean, they are teenagers, right?
Riverdale
so you
was
kind of
actually
do,
the
like,
one.
yeah, they have these powers mixed in with the teenage drama. Maybe that could work.
Yeah, man, high school is such a serious thing, man. These problems matter.
These problems matter.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Dawson's Creek, bro. That's a great show. Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do with it. No one really wants this film, but they could make it into something great. So we'll see.
You know what? Screw it. I wanted this, Cousin Chris. I'm the one guy. I'm the one idiot that made them, that bankrolled this whole production.
You've been waiting your whole life for Wonder Twins.
Of course, dude. Of course. Nah, seriously, I'll give anything a shot, especially something that sounds as wacky as this. I didn't know that was their whole like thing, but yeah, I'll give it a shot, man. Like, why not?
All right. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens.
We shall see. All right, man. So we got the next.
All right. I mean, hopping straight to the next one. We got Paramount's Investor Day announcement, which was huge. So this is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. During Paramount's annual Investor Day presentation on Tuesday, executives announced a slew of new projects heading to the streaming platform Paramount Plus. Included in those announcements was the fourth film in the Star Trek franchise, which is expected in December of 2023. We have a third Sonic the Hedgehog movie, as well as a live-action series based on Knuckles' character from the Sonic franchise.
Wait, the Knuckles one is live-action?
Yes.
Cool.
Live-action series, yeah.
Cool, okay.
Insane, actually, I didn't catch that either.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a live-action version. So Idris Elba will be returning to voice the character, which is pretty wild.
Cool.
In addition to that, we have a third Quiet Place film, which I believe we already talked about. And then there's a ton of kids programs that are getting movies. SpongeBob SquarePants is getting a new trilogy. We have Dora the Explorer, I believe, live-action franchise coming.
Is it the same as that other? Is it connected to
I
that?
don't think it's connected to the one that we saw. But that's fine.
Okay.
And then we have a Blue's Clues movie coming out, which some people are already talking about. It's going to be like No Way Home. And that the original three
Steves,
all the Steves will be coming back in this film.
Oh yeah!
And on top of that, we have Seth Rogen's animated take on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have the movie and a series coming from that, so that'll be pretty interesting.
Dude, you left one off the list though.
Transformers. Robots in disguise. Yeah.
But also, Baby Shark doo 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 doo.
Baby Shark doo 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 doo.
Baby Shark doo doo doo.
The one that's missing, probably the biggest one, is Transformers.
Oh my god!
So,
yes.
We are getting, of course, War on Cybertron is coming out. I can't think of the date on, but it's off my head.
I think they said 2024. I believe.
2024. Yeah. So that's going to be the start of a new trilogy.
Of a new CG trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in addition to that, we have a separate animated movie that's going to be coming to theaters as well. So they're doing a lot.
No, that's switched around. So the Beast Wars one, the one with the guy from In the Heights, that one, the live action one, that comes out next year. That's a trilogy. But then the others,
I said War on Cybertron, didn't I?
Yeah,
okay, let's redo it. So yes. Beast Wars is going to be a trilogy. That one's coming out
next summer.
In addition to that, we have the CG animated film that'll be coming out
the next year, 2024.
Right. I don't think we have information what that one's going to be about.
Oh no, we just know it's CG.
Yeah,
which is great.
So, wow. I mean, let's look at this. You're seeing this massive list. We've got the next Star Trek. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the Knuckles series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers. What sticks out to you?
You know, I'm gonna pick on Seth Rogen real quick. I love the fact that he is again dipping his hands into different parts of just not only like film but also animation. He's super talented. I like Seth Rogen's eye for not only writing but also Seth Rogen has a good eye for just bringing talent together. I'm not sure who's working on this animated take on the Turtles. I love the 2007 CG movie TMNT. That was an amazing one, actually. Underrated. I didn't love, but I still appreciated the new ones. The 2014 one and Out of the Shadows. Yeah. Those ones I didn't love, but I still appreciated them. But yeah, I'm always down to like have new iterations, especially like coming from a different kind of mind like Seth Rogen. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Yeah, like how about you?
Oh, definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's probably me. Well, I don't want to say my biggest because Transformers. I mean, that's gonna be.
Yeah, I think between Transformers and Sonic for me, I think Transformers. I can kind of see what I can kind of see. I know what I'm gonna get with them, but with this Sonic the Hedgehog, with that third one, the possibilities are just are endless.
I really hope we get to see Shadow then.
Yeah, I think what.
And I hope they lean into him being an edgelord with all his guns and everything.
Yeah, I think that's where since it's I don't know how they're gonna do the Paramount show. I don't know if Knuckles' show is like a kid's show. If it's live action, I think it'll be like kind of action oriented.
It's probably pretty family friendly. Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking that'll be a good place to actually bring Shadow in.
Well, I would mention that they could bring in a lot of unique characters in a TV show.
In a TV show,
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm excited to see that, but I mean, definitely for me, it has to be Transformers. I want to see this CG movie. I want to know what they do with that.
Dude, you gotta watch the beginning of Bumblebee. That'll give you a sense.
Yeah,
that'll give you a sense.
And I want to see what this new trilogy is like for Beast Wars.
Dude, Beast Wars I know you watched it as a kid too. Beast Wars was a show. It was one of the first like CG back when CG was looking rough, but it was cool back in the day. But yeah, Beast Wars was a groundbreaking show in that regard. I know a lot of people that are in their 30s now that like got into Transformers because of Beast Wars. So like the fact of making that into a movie, and they're getting Anthony Ramos. He's killing it. This guy, he was in Hamilton. He's Lin-Manuel Miranda's like best friend. They always collaborate. So to see him go from being in theater now to just being a bunch of movies, not just little ones, but like big movies. So I'm just really happy for Ramos and just where his career's going. He's also going to be in Armor Wars, so he's going to be pretty busy these next couple of years. But I just love how Paramount, like they dropped Paramount Plus. Folks kind of laughed at them like, what's this? Like, what you got to offer? But between like offering the new South Park movies that are coming up, and then to have just straight up like splash page announcement of all their upcoming things, Paramount. They might not be like a heavy hitter in the streaming war, but they're definitely like giving us some pretty good stuff, not only in theaters, but also stuff to make us come back and tune into their app. So, I give Paramount an A+ just for this whole entire spread.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, right? This is really a powerhouse slate of IP that they're giving us. And I mean, just Star Trek alone, I'm really excited to see a fourth one. I know some people have been kind of off with this franchise because in Star Trek Into Darkness had mixed reviews, right? And then Star Trek Beyond,
it's okay.
It's all right. I liked it personally. I think people were kind of over it at this point with the franchise, so I can't wait to see them take a fourth crack at it. I hope it's a big win for them.
Me too.
And all these other films, this is great. We're getting some really great content on the streamers.
Yeah, and it's it's really diverse. There's like something for everyone.
It's a really diverse slate.
There's something for everyone here. I love this.
Yeah. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That was our movie news for the week. I think at this point, we're probably ready to hop into our reviews, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So, what are we going to do next? Or do first, at least?
I think you're going to handle this first one for us because basically, I need you, Kos, to convince me to watch this show. I need you to pretend I'm the standard viewer. I know nothing about this show. Sell it to me, okay?
All right.
And the show in question is Jack Reacher Season 1.
All right. I got 3 words for you.
Okay.
Abs, action, more abs. Jack Reacher is a lot of abs. This is I think this version of Jack Reacher, which is more in tune with the books, because it's a very, very long-running series of books by Lee Child. This version of Jack Reacher, unlike the Tom Cruise version of the movies, he's more kind of... I think this is an instance where doing an adaptation of the book and kind of staying more in line with the book it paid off in dividends, because I think this show, and for the good reason, it's one of the best Amazon shows out there right now. So Reacher, follows Jack Reacher, a drifter. Drifter now, but he ex-military, has a very colorful history of going on missions, doing all kinds of like high intensity activities, and he's just become a journeyman. And so Jack Reacher really just wants to travel the country just to listen to his favorite blues singer, and he gets wrapped up in a police conspiracy in this small town in Georgia where he's just really passing through. And again, it's the traveling samurai trope that we've seen a lot in movies.
So he's ex-military. He's kind of just living his life, and he kind of gets roped into these things.
Yeah, he's done with that whole let me kill people and do adventurous stuff. Like he just wants to chill and listen to blues, and that's why he's even going, like the opening of the first episode is him getting off a bus and going to this town of Margrave, Georgia, where he just wants to go to Margrave to see his blues idol. That's where the blues idol is from. And again, he just kind of just stumbles into just all this stuff. And so right off the bat, Alan Ritchson, he plays Jack Reacher. He was Thad in Blue Mountain State. He's been in other things, but a lot of people know him as Thad from Blue Mountain State. He was the voice of Raphael in the Turtles reboot they did in 2014. He's done a lot of like either acting and voice work. He's just a great actor. I was kind of on the fence about him because he doesn't really do stoic well. He does like more comedy. He did stoic a little bit when he was in Titans. He played Hawk in Titans recently, and he did a pretty good job. But still, I had my apprehensions about him. But I think he nailed this role. Not only is he physically just imposing.
Yeah, that's the first thing you know.
He looks
the
like
guy is massive.
And the show, and the camera love this guy. He fills up a screen very well, but also he does a lot without saying much. Again, not saying he's a bad actor, but a lot, like the first 5 minutes, he's not even talking. All it's done with like eye movements and just making and like people and you feel him in these opening minutes. So he finds himself in the middle of this police investigation. He has run-ins with the police chief, with a couple of sheriffs who he befriends, and they kind of become a team. And again, going into just one of the positives of this show, not only Alan Ritchson, but the other actors and actresses that are in this show. Let me for a second here while I'm doing this.
I think...
So what happened?
No, it's just early on when I saw the trailers for this, I remember the Tom Cruise show, and I was kind of like...
The movie.
Yes, the Tom Cruise movies. I was kind of like, because it just looked like, some generic Tom Cruise
thing.
Yeah. But then I'm seeing the reactions coming out of this Reacher show, and people are loving it, and I'm like, I'm so confused.
It's not... It's the fact that, like, it's a show that... It's not really that complicated. Hey, it's a police procedural, but also has great action. Doesn't pull punches. It goes there. It's actually pretty violent and
really, it's actually pretty brutal.
Very, very brutal. It's unexpectedly so. You don't really expect that. Again, that's what kind of separates it from the Tom Cruise movies. Those ones are on PG-13. This is more TV, MA, R. They really go hard. And his supporting cast from Malcolm Goodwin, who plays the police chief, to Willa Fitzgerald, who plays she plays Roscoe. So Reacher has these two friends, the police chief Oscar and the deputy. Her name is Roscoe, and they are a cool, really great unit. I think what holds that show together too is those three's chemistry. They all work so well together. They all play off well together, and just seeing how Reacher and Oscar, they didn't get along at first, and it's always butting heads. The budding romance between Reacher and Roscoe, I love that. So like, it's rare that you get a show that has a lead and two supporting characters that really I could watch. If the show is just those three, like, I'd watch it. I don't really need anybody else, but But I think in terms of like supporting actors and actresses, those two did such a phenomenal job. It's great. Like, it's one of those where after the first episode, like, you're wanting to get more because it's a mystery. They're unraveling a mystery. So not to give any spoilers away for it, but like, there's a big mystery that actually involves Reacher, that involves Jack Reacher, that he inexplicably ends up being, you know, first a prime suspect, but then he turns into like someone who needs to help solve this. And again, that plays to what Reacher does. Reacher, even though he's a wanderer and drifter, and a drifter, his whole moral code is to help those in need. He defends the weak. He stands up for people. So right. It's in character. It's so him to do this, and I love the fact that I love where this season ended. I love that they've already been greenlit for season 2. So I'd love to see where they go, because again, they're like 20 plus books that Lee Child wrote.
Right. There's a pretty big.
There's so many books. So
a lot of books on that.
So and Alan Richardson, he said, hey, he's down to make all 28 books if need be. So yeah, I just love the fact that that they're able to adapt this for television. Again, have to be long form, have us learn about Reacher. You learn about his backstory. You learn about why Reacher is, what makes him tick, what made him the man he is today, and they juxtapose that against what's happening with Reacher in the modern day. I think it's done. It's been done before, that whole trope, but I think, I don't know, it was just done really well, and done in a refreshing way, and done with people and characters that you actually liked being around and liked hanging out with. So I give this series is a slam dunk. For rating this, I don't know, watch it. Just watch it.
The rating is watch.
My rating is watch.
So I mean, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If that appeals to you, if based on what you've heard, you want to give Reacher a try, because a lot of people have, it's getting some pretty rave reviews. I probably need to get around to seeing this thing because it's blowing up right now. So if that worked for you, go ahead and check it out. But with that one knocked out, what's the next one up on the list, Chris?
Well, now this is the story, Chris. All about how we started watching the Bel Air season 1, episode 4 episode.
Gosh.
You saw what I did there?
Bel Air, the reimagining of the beloved sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
The gritty reboot.
Yeah, it's well,
the gritty reboot.
I mean, we do get some pretty dark moments.
Do we?
So yeah,
do we ever?
Yeah. Let's start at the top. So we have Will. I mean, as we all know the story, he got into some trouble in Philadelphia. He moves out to Bel Air with his rich relatives.
Got a one little fight. His mom got scared.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about that one little fight, because in the introduction of this show, they give us a lot to say. Oh yeah, Will is this cool guy, right? He's star of the basketball team. Neighborhood hero. Apparently, he low key runs the streets. Girls love him. He eats his Philadelphia cheesesteak
without mayo
for nearly every meal.
He doesn't, and without mayo. If you have to put mayo in there, you're a sucker. And I took offense to that, but it's okay.
Yeah, and then of course he gets into this bet, which essentially. He has a little altercation with this drug dealer, and he feels that his pride has been wounded because these are his streets, of course. So he hunts this drug dealer down to a basketball court and says he makes a deal with him. And what was the deal again? If he wins, he gets $1,000, or was it $2,000?
Like $2,000.
$2,000. But if he loses, ladies and gentlemen,
if he loses,
he has to become a drug dealer. These are high stakes, folks. These are
so unfair. That's not fair.
This was the first thing about the show that kind of seemed a bit odd to me. Like, really, we're going to make a bet where either I get money or I'm forced to sell drugs? I don't know about that. Really press ganging him into working for a big time drug dealer in the city. It's a little odd.
Like, look, I'll say this much. It was on the basketball court. A lot of, and honestly, that stuff happens on the court. A lot of times, if you can't fight somebody, or if you can't pay up, sometimes some unsavory characters might do something like that.
You into working for them?
Might press you.
It's so strange because there's nothing there to suggest that Will even is a good salesman at that point in the show.
No.
Like, why is this guy wanting him to work for him so bad?
It was a power move, but I don't think Rashad, the gangster, thought that one through.
In question. That was really bizarre. And so then we have the actual altercation where it's like the other drug dealer that he was interacting with throws a basketball at Rashad's head. Rashad gets upset and says, "Who threw that?" Will's like, "Hey, no one threw that at you. Just pay me. You're delaying or whatever." He kind of instigates the fight for no reason. where he could have just said, "Oh, no one hit you. That was, I don't know what happened there." He could have just bypassed the whole thing. But he runs his mouth, and then his friend gets jumped, so he pulls out a gun, shoots it into the air. People scatter. His friend is fine, and then he puts the gun in Rashad's face. Now, Rashad, as we learn later on, is a pretty big deal in terms of drug dealer. He has some pretty extensive reach. He's a dangerous man. Why exactly Will felt the need to pull a gun on an unarmed man who wasn't even attacking him is a bit odd to me as well. I don't know.
I see what you mean. Like, all those are valid, but again, I'm as an aficionado on the lore and mythology of Fresh Prince, all of the stuff that conspired really felt like Fresh Prince. And here's why. It was updated. In the show, it was done for laughs. It was done in a montage type of way, but...
in the show, it was just a simple misunderstanding, right? Like, the ball went astray in the show. And it hit this man, it hit the drug dealer in the head, Rashad in the head, and Will was blamed for it. It was just a pure accident. Here, it feels a little bit over the top. Like, there was no need for him to run his mouth. There was no need for him to pull a gun on him. So I think what I'm getting at is it felt a little contrived to me. Felt a little bit forced. Like, I think he should have more sense that he could have avoided this just by talking his way out of it.
Gotcha.
But, okay, that's our scenario. Cool. He makes a drug dealer angry. He has to leave the city and move to Bel Air.
Yeah, I liked it because you should leave if that happens. If it was done the same way in the 90s, like, he could have actually still been in Philly. Like, there wasn't, like, Omar in the original wasn't really pressing this guy as hard. In this one, no, Rashad is pressing him. He knows what it's about when Rashad is involved. So, to me, I wasn't exactly put off by the whole thing because it's like, look, if you're the king of Philly, and if you think you're the king of Philly in Will's standpoint, I guess you could feel as though you could just pull a gun and like stand up for your friend like that. So I think that obviously should not have done that. Obviously it changes the trajectory of his life forever, but I was still able to stay on board with that whole entire incident of how he got out to Bel Air.
But I think that kind of just goes to my biggest issue with the show overall, because I mean, spoiler alert, it is a good show. It is.
It's fantastic.
I don't want to take that away from that.
It's fantastic.
I think my thing is, who's the young man playing Will? I don't know.
Jabari Banks.
Jabari Banks. I don't necessarily buy him in the role. I mean, obviously, it's not fair to say this, but he doesn't have the charisma of Will Smith, in my opinion. He's just not there.
I gotta disagree, but I gotta disagree on that.
I don't really buy him as the character. Like, a lot of the things he does felt really forced to me. Like, some of the slang he uses, like John, which is apparently the only piece of slang.
It's Philadelphia slang.
And so he uses it every other sentence. And same thing with the Philadelphia cheesesteak.
If I may, though, I'm sorry to interrupt. If I may, Will did say "Nah, I'm saying" all the time.
Okay, but that wasn't like his slang wasn't limited to one word, from Philadelphia.
True.
And like every other scene, it's like on the street corner with his friend, he gets the Philadelphia cheesesteak. For breakfast, Philadelphia cheesesteak. When he goes to Bel Air and has that dinner party with his relatives, Philadelphia cheesesteak is what he asked for the chef.
But I think he did that to feel more at home, because that was when he first got there. That one I won't hold against him too much, because that one is like, to me, it's like, you're in a new place, what's comforting?
Something you realize. It's in a new place, but like, even back home, he was eating it for like every meal. It's like, this is like, oh, what a better way to show that our characters from Philadelphia that haven't eats the biggest, piece of food that the city's known for like every other meal.
I don't know, man.
It felt kind of silly. It's like if you have a character from Texas and you're like, I want 100% beef patties, and you have them eat that for like every meal just to show that he's a Texan. Like, come on, chill.
Yeah, I guess, but I think it was done. I think it was done enough to where we're able to understand Will's love. It's just to reiterate his love for his city, where he's from. Like, cheesesteaks are a big part. We're not from Philly, dude. Like, probably that's a big thing.
Philly eats the sandwich that the city's known for every meal.
I know I have to say that. I don't know. So
like 4 times in the same episode, it's a bit excessive.
Could be, but I think when he got it, I think where the show really shined is when he got out to Bel Air. I loved how they kind of, in the beginning, they really set the show like, all right, here's where he's at, here's where Will is, here's how it is with his mother, here's how it is with his people. The entire incident happens. Even from like how it's shot, a lot of stark colors, really dark, looks a lot of desaturation. then we go over to Los Angeles to Bel Air. Everything's bright, it's airy, it's spaced out. That's California. It kind of reflected the whole East Coast to West Coast exodus that he made, and I love that. Again, I think the director of this show, who he directed the first episode, but he also directed the fan film that actually got this whole thing started. He was brought back as a series writer, and he served as director for the first episode. I just loved his eye for this. And again, like, I know you have your gripes about it, but I think we can't deny this. Like, his name is Morgan Cooper, I believe. I think Morgan loves this show. You can tell that whoever made this understood the show, understood how monumental of a task it was, and he didn't go as far as like, I don't want to remake this. I want to just take everything that we love about the show, from the feel to the characters, and like really incorporate that into this. That's why with Jabari Banks, the main guy who plays Will, he doesn't look like him, maybe not the same charisma, but I will argue that he embodies what Will is about. He has that. He's brash, he's cocky, but then again, he has a soft side. He's vulnerable, he's hurting, and it all comes out. And I think this actor is doing the best job that any actor could do when filling the shoes of like such an iconic role, and that goes to everyone else, and the rest of the cast also helps as well. They help them out.
It's so good. A fresh revamp. What they've done with most of these characters is really fantastic.
Nothing short of
brilliant. I think standouts are, of course, Uncle Phil and the individual playing Jeffrey.
And Jazz, I would say. Jazz is amazing.
They've revamped these characters, and they are really solid. They're well written. They are. And
I'm still on the fence about Uncle Phil. Still,
really, I felt like he was a standout for me.
It's not fair to say this. I just love James Avery. Like, he's Uncle Phil, and like, just the old Uncle Phil was like, he was imposing and scary, but so warm, and like he understood what Will's about, and immediately took Will in as a kid. I know the first episode they had their things, but after that he was like, this is my boy, come in here. Obviously it's a little bit more, I think this version of Phil had a lot of going on, so we can't really do that.
It's interesting what they're doing with him, because he is a flawed character. Right? I mean, he's very ambitious. He's trying to win this district attorney election, and sometimes that affects his relationship with
his wife,
and certainly with Will
and Carlton too. Like, everybody,
he's trying to figure himself out to a degree. He's like, I want this, but not at the expense of my family, because he is a family-focused man.
Yeah.
So I think seeing him struggle with that, showing that multifaceted side of him, is great. It's not necessarily that loving parental father figure that's stern, but like you can still like give him a hug at the end of the day, that we got from James Avery.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting take. I really like what they're doing with him.
It's still the energy of Uncle Phil. I love that. Every character has the energy of the character that came before them in some aspect.
Yeah, they've done a great job with the characters. I think, except for me, when it comes to Will, I have some reservations about that. But everyone else, for the most part, I really like them. I mean, Jeffrey, obviously, if you're further along in the episodes, you see he's got some street cred to him. It's definitely interesting.
Man, we're not gonna spoil it, but Jeffrey does some straight up gangster things in the most recent episode where you're just like, wow. It definitely, like, what do you think going forward after this last episode? Like, where do you see things? I told you earlier,
I mean, are we getting into spoilers here? Or are we gonna?
Let's keep things. Let's not go to spoilers because this just came out.
Look, they've gone in an unexpected direction with this latest episode. I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the storylines now that they've made this decision that they've made.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, but also hesitant, if that makes sense.
You know what, man? Sorry, viewers. I'm gonna issue the spoiler alert right now, because I think you should at least say what that was.
Okay. I mean, if you want to, man, No, don't do it. We hesitated. We can't do it now. I don't know.
We both locked eyes and realized that maybe this might. They probably shouldn't have done this, man.
So yeah, basically, a big thing has happened that affects the whole storyline. I'm not sure where they go from here. I really don't know.
I think what they did well in these first 4 episodes was they're trying to get both casuals but also diehard fans in. And I think these first 4 episodes, especially the first episode, they really hit all the what we call the greatest hits of the show. Everything from everything from Carlton's little episode with the caffeine pills to actually just being like, and then I think they've hit the greatest hits. I think now after what happened, we might start seeing like them now telling something new, having it be its own thing. I think it hasn't suffered yet from this, but I can see it happening where it kind of feels as though it has to hit all the greatest hits of the show. For me, I've watched the show many times. I don't need to see a retelling of the show I already watched. I like this because it feels like its own thing, while also being this show is one of the few shows that kind of walks that line between being a reboot and also just being a straight up just like member berries filled thing of just references and Easter eggs. And I think they did a good job of like walking that razor thin line. So I hope now, after what happened, they can go throughout the rest of the season in new directions is what I'm hoping for as a viewer.
Gotcha. Yeah, so overall, I think it is a good show. It is worth checking out. Some things in it do feel a bit forced and contrived.
Some things are kind of shocking as well.
And this is a common critique of the show overall. A lot of people have said that they bring up a lot of very serious issues, such as Black Lives Matters, things issued because obviously Uncle Phil's running for district attorney. Police brutality,
drug use, sexuality.
A lot of critics feel that they're bringing up these issues, but they're not tackling them in a meaningful way. And they compare it to the original show because it was a comedy. So when they hit like Carlton and Will being profiled in that scene with the police driver,
you felt it, yeah,
the cop. You definitely feel it. You feel the weight of that because they turn off the laugh track. The audience isn't laughing; they're doing something serious, and you feel it. Whereas with this show, it's brought up but not really meaningfully tackled.
I think also since this show is so serious, if you're serious like most of the time, when like something serious happens, there isn't like the there's no wave.
Like turnaround was wait.
It's all up being serious. Exactly. There's no like again, there's not to say this show is all serious. There's levity in this show, but to have stuff be hard hitting, I can actually agree with that with you when you say that. I think when they tackle these like real world issues, I wouldn't say it's just surface level, but I just wanted them to like go a little bit more. I think the best thing they did was in episode 2 with the whole N-word thing with Will and Carlton in the locker room. That's where they're like, I want them to do more of that. They don't have to always do that, but like if you're gonna do something like that, go all in. And they went all in with that one. But overall, I'm still a huge fan of the show. Obviously, a huge fan of the older show, but also this one. So, looking forward to the rest.
So, I mean, there you go. Bel Air is streaming now on Peacock. Go ahead and give it a chance.
Give it a shot.
You like what you've heard so far. Give it a shot. So, with that one knocked out, Chris, what's the next one?
We are going to. Let me see here. Oh, nice.
Uncharted
territory per se. So, Tom Holland just couldn't say no, huh? No, this man rules the earth as Spider-Man.
And he has
Zendaya. He's won. He's won 3 times over. So now this guy wants to be an Nathan Drake. Yeah. Listen, I never played the games. Never played Uncharted.
Didn't play them either.
Heard they're great. I'm gonna play them eventually. I'm gonna say something that's unpopular. I like this movie. I liked it a lot.
Is that unpopular?
Well, some people are good. I don't know. People might come after me. No, I liked it a lot.
Early reviews, I know early reviews were kind of weak for this.
Yeah, they were coming for early reviews.
But I haven't checked up recently. I don't know if that's turned around now that it's had its wide release.
Let's see now. So currently...
Because, look, overall, this is a good movie. It is. I mean...
I wouldn't say good. I'd say good. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's, it definitely feels Indiana Jones inspired. You get that. We hit all the same kind of tropes, right? I mean, you're solving you're getting clues, you're solving mysteries, you're dodging booby traps and the bad guys, right? All trying to get the treasure at the very end. So it hits all those tropes and it does them well. It's an enjoyable film.
Very enjoyable.
But I think the main issue for me, and I haven't checked what the negative reviews early on said, but it does them well, but doesn't do anything extraordinary with them. Like, if I wanted to make an Indiana Jones remake, boom, Uncharted is an Indiana Jones remake, but it's nothing. It's not memorable. You're not gonna be talking about this once you leave the theater.
Yeah, even though I think it's a good movie, it's very, very basic. And it's like it looks really good, it looks great, but it's all stuff that you've seen before.
Exactly.
I think for me, what sold me was obviously Tom Holland. Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg had really great chemistry. Tom Holland plays Nathan Drake. Mark Wahlberg plays Victor Sully Sullivan. Those two, I guess, are. I wish you played these games to know this stuff, but I guess they are. Yeah. They're partners in the game, and I like them in this. I like those two together.
They're good, but even then, it's kind of one weakness I pointed out. I didn't feel like there was huge character development for them. Because Nathan Drake, he basically ends the movie the way he started. He's still a thief who part-times is a bartender. It's just he doesn't like screwing over the people that he's stealing with. And we kind of see that from him early on. I don't think there's been a huge change in his character. And then Sully had a bit more character development, right? Because initially, he was okay with screwing over the people that he works with. But by the end, he's like, no, I value you more than I value this treasure. So we got a little character development from him, but overall, without that kind of emotional arc to cling to, all you have is this like generic action movie, adventure movie.
And they had an emotional arc, like an area for it with his brother, right? And like that whole storyline. I thought
it's not like that was a sad moment in his life, but it didn't like affect him. It's not like, oh, I can't leave the city because my brother might come back from here. It's not holding him back in any way. Right? It's just something that was there in his life.
You're right.
So yeah, no emotional subplot there to cling to. Pretty much generic action adventure story.
What wasn't generic though were the stunts. I'll give it that. They had a really great sequence with the plane. I was told that I was out of the game. Some of the people that I know that played it had told me that like that whole plane cargo sequence was part of the game. The whole hiding behind stuff and helping people get artifacts also part of the game. So I think the creators and the director of this tried a lot to make it feel. One, like the game for the hardcore fans, but for someone like me who's never seen it before, it had something for me where this was a really cool action adventure movie starring Spider-Man, but I was wanting more from it. I wish it gave me more, but I wasn't upset with what I got. If that makes sense.
That's fair. Because yeah, I mean, if you go out with your friends to go watch this movie, you're not going to be disappointed.
It's It's a fun time in movies.
It's just you're going to walk out there and be like, okay, what's next?
And they will have more. They definitely set up like further adventures at the end.
Right, we got 2 post credits, right, that are pretty interesting.
One ends on a total cliffhanger. I hope they're okay. Yeah. They'll be fine.
The cliffhanger that kind of sets up the next movie, though, is it's interesting, but at the same time, it just shows like, hey, we're doubling down on the whole Indiana Jones thing. It's going to be more of what we've already seen before.
Which I don't mind. An updated Indiana Jones, that's not Indiana Jones I'm cool with, because Indiana Jones is such a very protected and beloved franchise. So yeah. I don't mind them doing this. So,
and that's the thing about this, right? Because we don't have... I mean, some people love Nathan Drake. They think he's amazing, but I don't feel like we got that from Tom Holland. As someone who hasn't played the games, like, I don't particularly care that much about Nathan Drake. But Indiana Jones, he was just a fascinating, charismatic character. Like, it doesn't matter what he's doing, I'm going to go watch him because it's him. So I didn't get that from this movie, and hopefully some people do, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I think overall, I'd still say my rating. I'd still say see it. I'd say see it and see it in a theater. Yeah. If you can shut up the extra money, see it like IMAX or Dolby or Prime. If you live next to an AMC.
Just there's some great action here. Yeah. There's some great parkour too that I didn't expect.
Tom Holland he's an athlete. He can actually do a flip like on his feet, on his head, like he can do all that stuff. So the fact they got him to actually do a lot of the in-camera stunts, I think it was really cool. But overall, like I still enjoyed it. Was wanting more, but I was still satisfied walking out of that.
Yeah. So all right, man. Ladies and gentlemen, if that appeals to you, well, I hope it appeals to you, because you should go watch Uncharted. Just don't expect it to change your life. Right?
And don't expect him to, like, web sling or nothing. He doesn't.
No web slinging. Just parkour, though. Plenty of parkour. All right, Chris, what's next, though?
Last but not least, we're going to make some peace. Cousin Chris, do you really want to taste it? Tell me. Don't answer that because I know you do. Yeah. That's it. Dude, I love that intro to Peacemaker.
The context of that song, that gets weird very fast. All right, so Peacemaker. Peacemaker, James Gunn's foray into DC TV has been highly well received.
Unexpected too. Came from nowhere how good this was.
It's been fantastic so far. Gosh, where do we begin with this one?
Overall thoughts first about the series.
Thoughts. James Gunn is obviously an incredible writer. I mean, he balances the humor with the emotion, the heart really well, especially as we see in the final episode, right, which is our huge emotional gun punch. I think the biggest one of the season, and it's not even from our main character.
Economos, man. Economos is one of the most complex characters in that show. I love him.
And so, this show kind of highlights that James Gunn is a king of banter, right? He's fantastic with characters. He can make you care about them, and it's a really beautiful skill that he has. So overall, the story as far as the alien invasion goes, that was fun. That was cool for me.
The butterflies, I
think the biggest takeaway people take is that they really just love these characters. They love the way they're written. So it doesn't really matter so much what the adventure is. I'll tune in anyway.
We just love hanging out with these people.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts, man? What were your big takeaways?
Yeah, I felt the same. I love, but I also love how they're able to. Because initially, and this is a spoiler for Suicide Squad, the movie that came out last year. Peacemaker, played by John Cena, kills Rick Flag. We see it. It's a great fight, by the way. At the end of Suicide Squad, Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman, trying to stop Peacemaker from getting his hands on some files that he's going to go and release to whoever he works for. And there's a big fight, and John Cena ends up killing Rick Flag's character in the fight, and I remember saying dude, I hate John Cena, and I was glad.
No, definitely hated him.
Yeah, and I was glad Idris Elba shot him in the neck, but then I was not expecting that end credit scene to show that he was alive. So when the show picked up and I was gonna watch it, it's DC. I'm a nerd. I'm gonna watch it, but I was like, I don't know. My whole thing was, how is this literally what happens up? How is this show gonna make me like this guy?
Right.
But I should never have counted against James Gunn, because he from the opening scene when he's talking to that janitor guy, when he's still in the same outfit from when he was, the same gown he was in the end credits scene. He's still talking, and you just get a sense that he's ignorant, but he's not a horrible person. And he doesn't see where the ignorance and all the horribleness came from as the show progresses. But James Gunn was able to seamlessly make us care for a character that we hated I know I hated for months on end before this, but way before this show premiered. So and it's all done with dialogue. He's so good at dialogue. John Cena is a gem. This guy,
his comedic timing is really good.
I knew he was funny.
He definitely carried the show. A lot of people had doubts about if he could carry a show on his own.
And I don't blame him.
And he has a great supporting cast supporting him. So
yeah, and so this show is about just John Cena again getting. He joins they're not Task Force X. They're kind of a smaller subset of Task Force X that Amanda Waller herself has kind of bankrolled with some black market money, but they make a good team. So again, everyone from Adebayo, who is Amanda Waller's daughter, Vigilante.
He's fan favorite, honestly. The runaway favorite of the show.
I want Vigilante and Deadpool just to team up, even though
that'd be amazing.
They might cancel each other out, but love him. To Mern was our leader.
Such a great character.
They do something really unexpected with Mern. I don't know if we're gonna get into possible spoilers, but okay. They do something really cool with Mern. Also Hardcourt, and then obviously John Economos was great. But someone I think that should get some big recognition was Robert Patrick. I know him as a T-1000. T-1000, T-X-T-101. The T-1000. He plays John Cena's dad, Augie Smith, the White Dragon. He is a racist Iron Man.
Yeah,
Iron Man had a clan in it.
They do something with the finale that shows he's going to have an interesting role in the future seasons, because season 2 has already been greenlit.
And that is from the comics, what they're doing with him. That's a big part of the Peacemaker character, that whole thing. That's what he's all about. So I love that.
I mean, obviously, look, this was a great first season. It's no surprise I got renewed for season 2. I'm excited to see what they.
It's so gory.
It is very
shockingly gory.
Some of the humor can be pretty crappy.
No, not crass. Pretty mean-spirited, I'd say. Someone said is really mean, but I don't mean it as a Karen. I just mean that as a that's not nice. Like, you don't have to do that. So.
And see, there's kind of a reckoning with that in the final episode. It kind of showed like, hey, you should be more considerate of people, right? With the big emotional on the condos. So there's that too, but they kind of doubled down on it with the big cameo at the end, right?
Everyone's talking about that.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because I don't know if you saw the backlash on Twitter, but there was a huge boycott WB trending because of what they did. And look, I get it, because I guess we're gonna have to spoil this a bit just to talk about it.
Yeah, there's just this part. Hey guys, if you don't want to hear this portion, it's kind of hard to tell you not to. Just try to do.
Yeah.
We didn't have cues to tell
next week. You can just skip it here. So basically, so basically we have the Justice League show up, right? We've got Wonder Woman, we've got Superman cast in shadows, we have Aquaman and Flash.
And they try to keep Superman floating up in the air so you don't see his face.
Can't see his face.
Wonder Woman didn't speak.
They don't speak. They're the Shadow League is what they call them on Twitter. The Shadow League.
God, okay.
So, bringing in the Justice League just for a joke about Aquaman and his relationship to fish is an odd choice, I would say.
They did.
It was foreshadowed.
They definitely foreshadowed. They foreshadowed this.
I understand the backlash, especially when it comes to the Aquaman character, because traditionally Aquaman has been viewed as a bit more of a joke, because he's the guy that talks to fish, right? Mm-hmm. And James Wan put in considerable effort to make Aquaman this new badass character with Jason Momoa. Mm-hmm. And so for DC to willingly double down on making Aquaman a joke, I understand why the fans would kind of have a poor reaction to that. Yeah. And I understand why they'd want more respect for like the Justice League, the biggest characters that DC has to offer. So I don't know, how did that joke strike you?
I think it was hilarious. I think if you can't take the piss out of your favorite character, like then I don't know, like when is it even a good character to begin with? It's like I think Aquaman, the fact that like and even Momoa himself was cool with this.
Yeah,
he's cool.
Person, right?
Yeah, so I think what happens a lot, people try to get mad on behalf of others. That's really annoying. And again, it's such a small subset of people. I think the majority of the world was, one, happy to see them. Two, didn't think that they were going to be there. And three, were laughing at what was being said. Again, I don't want to if anyone out there did not like it, I don't want to say that your opinion isn't valid, but I think that's just the thing I don't like about these petitions and fan uprisings when something isn't done right. I get it, Aquaman was meant to be not a joke. I would still say though he still wasn't. He was still saying hey man, and he told Flash hey man, chill, F you for that. He wasn't just gonna take that. So even then, I don't think he was fully a joke. I think he was no. And again, it was played as a joke as Flash was well, it's true. But I think it was played for laughs. It wasn't meant to say, hey, that guy, that oh man, that hero you isn't that cool. No, it was just meant for laughs. I think people kind of get too in their feelings, especially on the internet where you don't talk to people face to face. I think these are. I think it'll be fine. I think it was done well, and expected, and it was cool.
Most people took it in that spirit, right? It's just a simple joke.
They weren't trying to bring your hero down. That's not what they're trying to do at all. They weren't. I don't think James Gunn wanted to do that.
But that was only one aspect of the backlash, right? Because first off, you have them making fun of Aquaman, right? But then we get into the bigger issue of giving us the Shadow League, basically, when it came to Superman. People want Henry Cavill back in this role, and they're frustrated with DC. They keep throwing it at us from the neck down, hey, we're still using the iconography of Henry Cavill in this role, but we won't recast him for whatever reason. I don't know the story on that. I don't know why they're so hesitant. Maybe he is too expensive to cast at this point. Maybe they just don't know what they're doing with the character.
I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, people are fed up with the whole headless Superman, Shadow Superman. No, just give us the real deal already.
I think you're right. I think they just don't know what they want to do with the character yet, because it's like we saw him in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League and Justice League 4 years ago now, 5 years ago. But it's been it's now been 9 years since his first solo film.
Wow.
Like, we haven't gotten a sequel yet.
Wow.
Like, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel, and I contend it's one of the I put Man of Steel in like the top 10 greatest comic movies ever made in terms of like just bringing a character to life.
It's definitely underrated.
It's definitely in my pantheon of like this is how you do it, and I think a lot of people